the green room. Paints, games, chats. The green room. This is where the party's at. Green room. We got guests here to stay. Welcome to the green room. Best part of your day at the green room. Hello, welcome back to the green room. This is my NPR voice.
It's good.
Welcome to the green room. If you're driving home right now, then, well, God, I hope you're not driving home right now, anybody.
Keep your eyes on the road.
Yeah, don't watch this. I'm loud enough this time, yeah? Hey, chat, hit me up if I'm not loud enough this time. Let me know. This is only our second stream, but I feel like it's going well already. What do you guys think?
I had a great time with the first one.
Yeah, I'm glad you watched it. So my name is Justin, also known as Nerd and Nachos. Tonight we're gonna be doing some DM talk. I'm gonna be painting Captain America later on. I'm appropriately loud. Thank you so much, Kaloshin. Appreciate that. We're gonna be joined by Egbert in a little bit. He's like the show pet, I've decided.
He's child.
Child?
He's your child, Justin.
Okay. Fine. That's fine with me. I'll take that. I have two guests tonight, as you can see. Joining me again after returning, I guess, from last week. We have Emma. Say hi, Emma.
Hi, I'm Emma. I was here last week.
Yeah. Emma came back, and first-time guest, long-time friend, Graham.
Hey, welcome to me.
So, have I cared for that boy? Yes, okay, let's just get this out of the way now. So, on last week's stream, I hatched Egbert, who...
This is already starting to sound like a horror stream.
Yeah, good. This is why I brought you in. So Egbert is my Tamagotchi, my little pet boy.
Oh
no! He's my pet shop boy. And anyway, he grew, you guys. I'm not like it was like no time at all. It was like hang on, let me cut over real quick and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so wait a second. There you go. Look what he looks like now.
Aww.
He's like a little bell sprout, is what he reminds me of. So he grew in 24 hours. I didn't realize Tamagotchis can grow that fast. And then I've just
they are made out of electricity and computers.
Yeah, that's true. That's fine. But if he grew that fast, what do I do now? I just take care of him every day for forever? I clean up his poop. Oh, I should have left.
That's why they're
poop.
called your forever friends, Justin.
But I mean, what friendship? It's like being friends with a really, I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with this.
Yeah, it's a little one-sided. I know what you're going for. It's a one-sided relationship.
Egbert gives me joy every now and then. You know, that's really mean.
Egbert, I'm so sorry. If you would rather live with me, I will happily take care of you. I have a whole phone of Tamagotchis to prove that I do care.
That's why I think he should be a show pet, so we can kind of move him around. I feel like if I call him a child, I'm gonna feel really bad, just gifting him to my friends.
Is that your plan?
Yeah, that's right. D-Mazra, he does have a good mom helping him here. Sometimes I go a long time without cleaning up his poop, and then I'll find that it's cleaned up, and thankfully it really helps to have a good partner. So thanks for that. Okay, if anybody didn't come here to talk about Tamagotchis and instead talk about D&D stuff, we should probably get to the meat of this interview. So I have prepared some questions. Think of this like Hot Ones, okay? Except you're not eating wings. and I'm not as good of an interviewer as that guy.
Off to
But
a great start.
other than that, it's basically Hot Ones, and so um, yeah, that's where we're gonna go with this. So, real quick, how do we know each other? This is something that I just kind of wanted to cover up front. I mean, Emma and I kind of talked about it last week a little bit, but why don't we just do a quick recap on how the three of us know each other? Anybody want to talk about that while I get some paint stuff ready?
Um, yes, it's like okay, so this is the way I think about it. Graham is like the grandfather, and Justin is the dad, and then no,
Yeah,
okay, so this is what I
this
mean
is
though,
good.
because like Graham
This is great.
taught Justin how to play D&D, and then Justin taught me how to play D&D,
Hmm.
and so it's like the teacher and then the other student. Yeah. Hmm.
I'm
Yeah,
into it. It's 3 generations of gaming.
I couldn't have said it better
Yeah.
myself. That's fantastic. So yeah, we know each other through gaming, really, but that's not entirely true either. I knew both of these people before gaming with them through theater stuff. So theater friends equals gaming friends. It's a magical
Yeah,
little family.
Justin and I worked together in Colorado, 2 years at least, and we were in
Mhm.
contact, after that, and both into lots of comics and games and all that stuff. So yeah, and then we met. Emma and I met through Justin, specifically gaming. So there it is.
That's how you do it. That's how families are made. Okay, through
At the gaming
relationships at
table.
the gaming table. It's true. I feel like you know, well, we'll talk about this. I have questions specifically based around it. Kaloshin got a new puppy. Congratulations on a new puppy.
He's
Whoa.
just the cutest little puppy in the
So
world.
cute. She's just a cutie little girl.
I just want to hold her.
I know. Me too. Social distancing. Um. All right. So, what other geeky things are you guys into besides gaming? Besides theater? Just a little more about who you are as people. Oh, and real quick before you answer, I just wanted to mention I in the second half of tonight's stream will be painting this Captain America figure. But I lied last week because I said I was going to finish Red Skull off stream, and I never had a chance this week. So this is where we left him last week. But I'm gonna be continuing the process right now, just while we talk.
Oh,
And
it
while we
looks
chat a
so
little bit.
good.
Ooh.
So that's what I'll be doing in the background. Not really talking much about it, but you can watch. Okay. Other hobbies, other interests, other geeky things, anything?
Go ahead, Emma.
I like Shira and I and Sailor Moon, and I mean, yeah, I think I really like part of the reason why I am DMing Pitfalls and Ponies is that I really like animated children's shows because I think I would really love to write for one day if that could be something in my life that would happen. So I enjoy some animes. I enjoy, like I said, Shira, Kipo and I think Kipo and the Land of the Wonder Beasts. There's a couple of really great shows on Netflix right now that are Netflix originals that are diverse and that have openly gay characters that I think are awesome. So yeah, I'm nerdy in that sense. It's hard when you just put me on the spot. I'm like, what do I like? What do I care about? Um, yeah,
That's
Graham, you
great.
say something.
No, that's those are that's
I've got a lot of hobbies. My wife is constantly telling me that I need to reduce the number of hobbies I have, and the reality is that some of them are just things like I pull out once a year sometimes. Anyway, but it's easier probably to describe the nerdy things that I'm not into. But primarily, I play a ton of D&D. I'm actually I run D&D for a living right now since theater is not happening. That's my job, so that's been really fun. I run a game pretty much every day, and some days too. And I run with Bald Man Games, who do all the events for Gen Con, Origins, Winter Fantasy, the official D&D virtual weekends, other things like that. So yeah, that is like a huge percentage of my life right now, especially. So that's my main thing. But I love comics. I love a lot of things Emma was talking about.
So
She-Ra, My Little Pony.
that's
Graham also sings shanties.
he he does.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it
They're
depends on how
so
you
good.
define nerdy in terms of like whether that fits. But I've always been a huge enthusiast for traditional folk music, which I learned through my mom, whose family's from Cape Breton, and it's like a whole thing. And it sometimes it's kind of sad because it's like the only music that I really really listen to. And so I never know what the kids are doing with music. I'm kind of stuck in the 19th century.
I
Sure.
think that's beautiful.
That's
Also,
fantastic though. You know what you
Cal
like.
Ocean wants to know if your wife has any hobbies, Graham.
Yeah, totally. She's less of a like person who defines herself by her hobbies. Like she would say that her hobbies are like organizing things, and actually, she's been a professional organizer and still occasionally does work like that.
Wow.
So she loves like taking things and putting them into compartments. But it's definitely a thing where I have to like constantly be checking myself. Otherwise, you end up with like the spouse who does all the fun things in their free time, and the spouse who's like, "Oh, I've got a free minute. Let me go, fold the laundry or something like."
I I want to talk about that because like I feel like I want to know what your thoughts are on being a full-time DM because I feel like for a lot of us that's kind of like wow, what a dream. What a dream that must be to just constantly be playing D&D as you're living. But like I don't know, what are the pros and cons of that?
I mean, there definitely are pros and cons, and it is a dream in a lot of ways. So please don't take anything I say as complaining. Let me start with the positives, though. I mean, the positive is that I feel like I know what is going on in D&D world. In basically every corner other than the NDA circles where like people have signed agreements and stuff. So like I've never done work for Wizards of the Coast directly. So I don't have like that kind of line in, but I usually am really up on the D&D news. I know the rules fairly well. There's like always stuff that you have to look up. I think everyone is that way, even the designers. But yeah, so D&D, it's like very consuming, and I've been able to run a huge amount of the published material. When you're running D&D every single day, the hardest thing is lack of prep time. So what you end up doing, like you're just kind of forced to run
Right.
stuff that's written by other people. And so yeah, so I've run most of the D&D hardcovers at this point. I haven't run Waterdeep Dragon Heist because I started playing it uh, when it came out, and then just never bought it and never got around to running it.
Sure.
But yeah, most of the other hardcovers, and like I don't know if people watching are into D&D, I like follow these sorts of things, but D&D used to be in a model where they published like tons and tons and tons of books, and you could never really play all of them. But now they have kind of a steady rhythm of doing like one or two adventure books a year, and usually if they do two, it's an adventure book that's like a compilation of smaller adventures. So it's really possible for everyone to kind of like play through the things together, which is a very fun thing. They're like touchstones within the hobby. So everyone would be like, "Oh yes, I remember when I defeated a Sararak at the end of Tomb of Annihilation."
Mm.
Many people will like have that sort of common
Spoilers.
experience.
Graham, we
Well,
never
I'm
finished that one.
the thing is, you can also like not defeat a Sararak at the end. It kind of depends on what happens.
Yeah,
Oh,
and that
sorry. I was just you go ahead, Justin.
no, please. I was just gonna say that's kind of the I think that's kind of to your point too, is though like that it's kind of common knowledge that I mean if among the community of people who are actually like reading and doing all that like material and running up these other sources and stuff like that that a Sarak's on the cover of Tomb of Annihilation and so but yeah I mean on the flip side of that when we first started playing, the three of us, I think the first thing that the three of us did together actually, was I was running Tomb of Annihilation for the two of you,
Yeah.
and some other friends who were also Ghostlight people, um, and I mean we didn't make it very far at all before we all got busy and had
Fine.
to stop. But
Perusard and Cal Ocean.
yes, um, but anyway, what were you gonna say, Emma?
Well, Cal Ocean asked us in the chat, do all three of you wish you could be a player more? Some DMs have trouble giving up control.
Yeah, that's really good question, Kalosh. And I'll start by saying not really. I really like DMing. I do. I don't get me wrong. So I like playing, but every time, like I'll crave playing, and then when I start playing, like 2 hours into the session, I'm like, yeah. It makes me appreciate DMing. I'll tell you that much. That's just me.
Yeah, I didn't want to jump in and like give my answer. Uh, do you want to hear it, or do you want to talk,
Yeah.
Emma?
No.
Okay,
No, go ahead,
so
Graham.
so I would say most of the time I don't wish I could be a player more. Similar reason to Justin. It's not so much about giving up control as it is like when you're a great writer, you notice uh, the seams around someone else's writing to mix metaphors, or like if you're an actor, you're very judgy about actors' performances. And I think the same thing is with DMing. Like you see a lot of the math that's going on behind their eyes,
Mm-hmm.
and you have your own instincts. And if you would make different choices, it can be a little bit grating or like difficult. For me, I get a lot of playing in at conventions, which is kind of the fun thing for me. I'll go to a convention and I'll run like 7 or 8 slots of D&D games, and then I'll play in between. And that way I can play with like some of my friends who are like the best DMs I know, which is very fun. So that's cool. It's how I get my licks in. Every once in a while, though, like when we were playing Tomb of Annihilation, it's fun to do like a regular home game. I play in a Blades in the Dark game run by Ted Bushman, who's going to be a player in our stream.
I don't know. I like being able to play. I'm excited for Blood of My Blood to start, which is the campaign that Graham is DMing for Ghostlight RPGs. I'm currently DMing, so I DM the Spellbound, which is a podcast also that I edit. I'm DMing a Scooby Doo Monster of the Week campaign right now for Justin and a group
So
of
good.
our friends, and that's close to being done. And then I'm going to start Pitfalls and Ponies with GRPGs here. So I don't know. I like having a chance to play though, because when you're DMing, for me, it's a lot of prep work, and there's something so freeing about like Cal Ocean and Justin and I are, and another one of our friends are all in Dragon Heist, and Justin's DMing, and it's so freeing to just show up and not have to worry about anything except like, oh, did I read over my notes from last session? Did I take notes last session? Um, I find it way more relaxing to be a player, but I also really love the DMing component because, like you guys have said, you have this motivation to tell a story, like as a writer, and so there's something satisfying in the same way that like I like acting, but really love being a playwright. I think I feel similarly to playing D&D versus running a campaign, is that I really enjoy playing, but there's something more satisfying about running a campaign or writing and running a campaign. That's my
I,
answer.
yeah, I agree with both of you. I think, yeah, I mean, to Kel Ocean's question, specifically talking about control, I think it's less about control because even when I DM, I at least I try my best to let my players have reins over situations. And so, if anything, it's more like the characters themselves have the most control. Um, and I think what I miss when I play, what I miss about DMing is being the person who gets to react to all of that. Um, you're just it's like you get to play more. I think, um, and I just enjoy it. Great question. Um,
Yeah.
to continue here, um, so just kind of a big open-ended question here. What draws you both to tabletop role-playing games? What's the thing that makes you just continually want to do it? I mean, I guess we kind of talked about this a little bit with the reason that we love DMing, but is there more of a broad answer there?
I
And
know from oh,
I'm so
go
sorry.
ahead.
I was gonna say on the flip side too, like if it's easier to answer this, what is intimidating about them to you? Is there something that still kind of scares you, or like kind of gets you a little nervous? You got the nervous poops or something, you know? It's a theater thing.
Um, uh, I so I used to do online RPGs when I was in middle school and high school, and those were text based. And that was what I did for fun and how I made some friends. And so and then I, stopped doing that when I went to high school because I was like, that's not a thing that high schoolers should do. I'm gonna make friends in person, and I'm gonna like, go and join the theater department and put my creativity there. So like fast forward through high school and college and through becoming an adult, like I kind of like for a long time I was like, oh, games are juvenile. Like I shouldn't play games because that's what I did when I was a kid. And so like video games, like I was just like, oh, that's not really a thing I should do anymore. And so I find it very exciting that it's like, oh wait, no, games are for everyone. And I can do this fun thing with my friends again and we can tell a story together because that's I think what really draws me to like TTRPGs specifically is that you can create a story with your friends. I love writing by myself, like I love writing a play or what have you, but there's something really exciting about writing with other people and collaborative storytelling, which is inherent in theater as well. And so I think it really lends itself, if you enjoy theater, that you would enjoy TTRPGs. So that's what I find appealing about them. Maybe I don't know if I find them intimidating. I guess I might get intimidated like playing with new people that I've never met before because I don't know what to expect and I don't know what their expectations are or like safety and stuff like that.
Right.
But I in general I don't think I find them intimidating. I find them exciting.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything you said, and I think that for me, what really drives me to be involved is that you have this framework in which you can tell a story that has absolutely no restriction in terms of visual effects budget or where it can go. Especially if you're in kind of a, I don't want to say casual, but if you're in a game that's free form where you have a lot of flexibility, you're among friends, there's a lot of trust at the table, it really could go anywhere. It's really exciting, and it's something that you can't truly capture in any other medium because there's all sorts of restrictions and boxes that you have to stay within. Even if you're doing something like improvised theater, you still have the restriction of the mimesis, like you're still pretending that a chair is like the cockpit of an airplane or whatever it might be. Whereas in RPGs, you don't have to rely on a prop or mime work. You actually like it lives in your imagination, and so there is no restriction. And I think that's part of the reason too why fantasy and sci-fi are so popular as role-playing game genres, because with fantasy, there's almost no better medium through which to tell a fantasy story. You could argue a novel is similarly enjoyable, and I think that's true to a large extent. But the collaboration that exists with role-playing games is amazing, and especially if you have friends who understand one another, you've built up group mind. Like so you guys know this. I've done a lot of improv comedy, and was part of a troupe for about 7 years, I think. And so yeah, you build up this reserve of understanding, trust. You can almost like hear the punchline before your friend says it because you know their brand of comedy so well. And I think that exists with a lot of D&D groups, especially these groups that have played for 30 years or whatever. It's an amazing thing that we do. And so the trouble that I have always is making space for other stuff in my life because it's such a high. Even the games where there's like, it's a little rough around the edges, like you're still experiencing something magical.
Yeah.
Yeah. That actually reminds me that that's why I wanted to start the Spellbound podcast, Graham, was because I wanted to write this fantasy musical and I was frustrated with the restrictions that a stage and an audience, like that, what can I do on a stage? And I thought, oh, maybe at some point I got to the point where I was like, oh, wait a minute, maybe this would just be better if it was a D&D campaign. And it wasn't just me telling the story, it was all of us telling it together. And it's been so much fun to explore it in that medium.
I agree. I got to see one of the stage readings you did for Spellbound.
That was the one.
That was the one? I thought you had multiple.
We had a couple like a little things, but that was
Okay.
like the one whole reading.
Yeah. I mean, you did a fantastic job, and what's your friend's name who did the music?
Krista, and she does music for the podcast too. And she, I think, is working on our Pitfalls and Ponies theme right now.
Fantastic. Well, okay. Well, we'll have to have her on a green room or something at some point.
Oh, she would love that.
Love to have her and Ted and talk about music. Oh, that'd be good. But what was I gonna say? I
That
think
is completely different.
you did a great job. No, yeah, I mean, you did a great job with writing the basis and everything like that. But the world opens up when you have when you can just play in it, you know, and it's almost like having like some sort of a themed improv night where you like everyone just like it's like having Lord of the Rings theme improv or something, and everyone comes and everyone knows that it's gonna all take place in this Lord of the Rings. So there's like inside things that everybody just can't like contextually understands. It's cool. Awesome, guys. Well, that's fantastic. Good answers. Good answers. Oh, I was gonna say real quick. What the thing that I think intimidates me the most is Kill Ocean. I would watch that too. We should put it together. Graham, we're coming to you for Lord of the Rings themed improv.
I could do that.
The thing that intimidates me most is, I think Emma kind of mentioned it, and it's just I never want to make anybody feel unwelcome. I never want to make anybody feel made fun of in any way, and so I think for the majority, I think I do a pretty good job of that. But there's still things I as a person am trying to teach myself and learn, and different terms and different things that I want to respect everybody who's there, and especially like on a live stream like this, there's just like there's a pressure I think I put on myself, but that just to be respectful, I suppose, of everybody present, and so there's an expectation I think that I kind of put on myself, and for me that's just kind of the thing that still intimidates me. I guess it's more about the improv aspects than the actual tabletop role-playing aspect. I mean, role-playing is the
I know what you mean though, because in improv, like, you can't always control. In order to be successful, you have to turn off the inhibitions a little bit.
Yeah.
But you can't turn them off completely.
Right.
And you really can get yourself into trouble, even in doing improv comedy, where like say it's an audience that's not young. You've got an adult audience. Like, you could make those jokes, but it doesn't always improve your comedy. So like you're doing this balancing act, and role-playing games can be the same. But I think what might help in terms of that intimidation is just to think of it like you're having those same interactions with any imagine it's your first day at work or something. You're going to have the same sort of concerns or fear, and right. I think accepting the fact that you probably will make mistakes, as we all do, like I know that I will, and being open to that, being able to own it, and also just sort of like constantly being on the journey of trying to learn how to treat people, to learn better and better and better, like what are the respectful, like helpful ways to engage. Yeah. It's just a journey.
For real.
And I think like learning, like to piggyback off of that, like we are using lines and veils for Blood of My Blood, and I didn't know about that before Blood of My Blood, so that's something like, and like with Spellbound we use like the traffic light system, where if anyone in the audience is like, what is Emma talking about, these are just some like safety mechanics you can use to help keep everyone at the table feeling like they have some control, and that they can like speak up if something makes them uncomfortable. And it also gives you a way to know what might make people uncomfortable, like before you go in. So like the traffic light system, I don't know if that's the official name, but it's just like I have 3 little items here at my table, and one is green, one is yellow, and one is red. I don't know if you guys can see these, but yeah. Like if something were happening and I was uncomfortable as a player, I could hold up my yellow, this is a popsicle stick. I could hold up my yellow popsicle stick, and like Graham would know, okay, Emma's starting to get uncomfortable. I'm going to turn this car the other direction, and we're going to stay away from whatever that is. Or like if I held up the red popsicle stick, he would know, okay, like we've crossed a line, let's stop, let's take a 10, and we'll come back and fix it. We'll start somewhere else. And so that's just like a cool tool that you can use so that your players can let you know if something is happening that makes them uncomfortable. And you can do surveys too. We've utilized surveys before campaigns and just asked people to anonymously let us know, like, hey, does anything on this list make you uncomfortable? Is there anything that I as the DM should know before we start playing, so I can make sure to keep that in mind when we're playing? I like all of these tools, and that makes me feel like if I go to a table and I like Graham sends me that, I'm like, Whew, okay, like Graham is thinking about what he can do to make the table safe, and just knowing that you're using those tools in the first place makes me as the player feel safer, rather than if I sat down at a table with someone I didn't know. I don't know what their rules are, and I don't know what their expectations are. And I don't know, like as a girl, sometimes you get that fear of like, okay, is this going to be a situation where I'm going to be the only girl player and every other character is going to hit on my character? Because that's a little weird sometimes. Or tricky situations like that. So I think just knowing that the tools are there and that people are using them is a great first step that shows people that you really are genuinely trying to make it a safe space for everybody.
Yeah, and keeping communication really consistent from the beginning, even before you start playing. Just don't ever stop communicating. Then as you're playing, sending in check-in emails and even messaging people privately and just saying, hey, how's it going? Anything, come up? Or I noticed, this reaction. I wanted to check in to see things are okay. I've learned through many mistakes. I run primarily horror games until I started doing more of the like professional stuff where I'm running Official Adventurers League material, some of which is still pretty horrifying. But like Dark Plane is the setting that I created, and it's a horror setting. And I have definitely made the mistake of not using safety tools and pushing on a button that was exactly the thing the person did not want or need to have happen in a horror game. So that it's no longer fun. It's like crossed the line into something dangerous. And so I learned that at whatever, like 22, 8 years ago, and we've come a long way in our collective culture of like understanding what are the tools you can use, and people have come up with these great systems, so we should use them because they exist, and it makes everything better. You don't have to worry about crossing lines if you know what those lines are ahead of time.
I love it. And also, I'm sorry that I'm not like nodding along with you guys. I'm totally listening. It's hard to focus and like react.
You're making a piece of art, man. I don't
Yeah,
judge.
I'm watching. I'm actually watching you paint as we talk, so don't worry.
It's going pretty okay at the moment. We got some black under there. Yeah. Okay. Fantastic. Well, that's a little bit about you guys personally. Let's talk more about the shows that you are running. Graham, I know you just kind of mentioned it a little bit there with your Dark Plane talk, but if you're just joining us, anybody who's just chiming in, welcome, first of all. We have Graham and Emma who are going to be running shows on this channel, so you can come back to this exact link and check out Blood of My Blood, which is going to be on Friday nights, starting in just 3 days. This Friday. How exciting. And we'll talk more about that in a little bit. But Friday nights at 9 p.m. Central Time. And then Pitfalls and Ponies.
9 p.m.
No.
Eastern.
9 p.m. Eastern time.
I was like, what?
Thank you. So yeah, 9 p.m. Eastern time, 8 p.m. Central. Got it. And then you can do math backwards from there. And then Emma is going to be doing Pitfalls and Ponies, which is kind of the opposite end of that spectrum, which we'll get into here in a little bit. But that'll be on Sunday mornings at
10:30 a.m. Central Standard Time.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out what that would be Eastern, since we said
She
Eastern
was ready.
with the other one.
She was
we're
like,
just,
I'm going to
we're
tell
all
him
different
what
time
time this is.
It's on the poster. Just look at the promo art, and it'll have it'll have the time on it.
Yeah. When we get to like whatever season 3 of, our channel's going to be, we're going to be in like 5 different time zones. 5's really pushing it, but seriously. Okay. So, Blood of My Blood, Pitfalls and Ponies. Let's talk. First of all, and you guys can go in any order, but I just want to know, first of all, what can viewers expect to see from your show?
Graham, you go first.
Okay, thanks. The impetus for starting Blood of My Blood, which, the title tells you what you need to know. It is a horror game. It's set in D&D, which I think some people might find a little bit unconventional or surprising.
Mm-hmm.
D&D is often sort of played stylistically as this game of like powerful heroes who are out to save the world and succeed by destroying evil monsters, foiling villainous plans, all that kind of stuff. Well, so I've been for a long time. I've been running games in a setting called Dark Plane, which is very influenced by weird horror. So it's sort of a little Lovecraftian. Um, Other touchstones I like to give are like China Mieville, who's an author who writes like sort of science fantasy or like horror fantasy. Um, and it's kind of got a little bit of Anne Ricey, vampire-y.
Mm.
Basically, like the goal of the setting was to create sort of a multicultural, inclusive environment where any kind of horror story could live and be at home. But specifically, my games have, and the published stuff of Dark Plane has always focused on the weird and the occult, mysteries, hauntings, um, conspiracies, and things that are less overt. So I've never run horror games as like the death metal, blood and guts, Shadow of the Demon Lord style. Although that kind of game has a place and is so fantastic, and I love Rob Schwab's work. Um, Dark Plane has always been more of the kind of the soft-spoken answer to that kind of horror. So you may find things that are like the dark elements. Like for example, Rob Schwab has all kinds of wonderful, disgusting, gory spells that are like unique to Shadow of the Demon Lord game. And Dark Plane, you might find effects that are described like that, but mechanically, you don't have like a whole book of spells of people like defecating until they die or things like that. So the particular game that we're going to run is called Blood of My Blood, and it involves some of my friends who are all like theater practitioners, actors, writers, and they're all going to be playing characters who are involved in this thing called the family, which is basically a cult. I don't think there's any reason to obscure the premise. They have joined a cult, and we are going to see how long they can stand being a part of it. But the game will have a lot of mystery, so I don't want to talk too much about plot, but in terms of the world, it's this world where in a cosmic war amongst the gods, the mother creator of all the universe that people know was actually killed really early on, and it just set the whole thing off on this kind of accidental course where the world is this dark place where horrors are hidden underneath every surface. You turn a corner and you might find something terrifying, but it's all hidden enough that people have this sense that they live in kind of a mundane world, and magic is very rare, very mysterious. You don't have things like giants walking around and disrupting, or dragons, saying like, oh, that duke has hired me to, go slay this dragon, which is pillaging the countryside. Nothing like that exists in Dark Plane. The Dark Plane version of that plot line would be a game that we actually played earlier this last year, which is that the Shogun is hiring people to investigate cults that have sprung up of these dragon worshipping people who have changed from worshipping dragons to worshipping alien entities from outside the known universe. And it's got that kind of Lovecraftian monsters and magic are things that are beyond human experience. So they're intentionally strange, disturbing, and rare and dangerous. So it lives a little bit outside of normal D&D genre, but we use the D&D rules, pretty much all of them, although we'll be doing kind of like the basic rules. Like we're going to keep things pretty streamlined for our game. But that's the long version, I guess.
No, that's great. That's so much information. I love it. So yeah, I mean, I will be playing in Blood of My Blood, as will Emma. And what I love about it most is that, like, I mean, you wrote a compendium. I mean, you wrote a Bible on this world that you created. It's so impressive to me, because I, get to like page 10 of notes on a campaign and I'm like, oh my god, like I'm so done with this already. Like, so one of the questions, and we can tie it in with this one too, and Emma, I'll come to you with this after I ask Graham, but before we get to Pitfalls and Ponies, which I do want to hear about. I'm sorry. But just follow-up question for Graham, because like I wanted to talk about the system you're using, right? And you said, yes, it's D&D, it's 5e, 5th edition. But what, I guess, talk to me a little more about like the Dark Plains, like the book that you did. Like, how long were you working on that? Like, what goes into it? If you can give a cliff notes of that.
Yeah. So I started working on the setting really early, like when I was in college. And I knew that I wanted to create a setting that was somewhat adjacent to like Ravenloft is the classic era 90s
hmm
gothic horror setting for D&D. And I wanted to do something that was like Ravenloft, but instead of being gothic horror, it was specifically weird horror. So that was the launching point for, and the setting, the name Dark Plane refers to what is essentially outer space. But in this world or this universe, outer space is this kind of infectious, malignant sphere where if you go there, you will be twisted by like aberrations, and it affects your body, your mind. Very Lovecraftian. So that's the basic hook for the setting. And I knew that early on, and it's just been developed through running games. I've run campaign after campaign after campaign. All my players have sort of helped to develop. So I give a lot of the credit to the players I've played with. I certainly wouldn't say that I'm like the sole creator of the Dark Plane universe, but like all of these things sort of emerged through play, which I think is the best way to world build. I think that one person sitting in a room can do it, but what fun is that?
Yeah.
I agree with that. Just to interject, because I listened to a podcast once, or I listened to like the first episode of a podcast once called Join the Party, but for their second campaign, they created their world together instead of the DM sitting down and doing all the world building on his own or on their own. They all sat down and they were like, okay, we live in a town. What businesses are in this town? What do our characters eat? Where do they go to school? Where do they work? And I thought that that sounded like way more fun than just doing it all by yourself, and way less work too.
I love
Yeah, so
that.
it took me like 10 years to write the book.
Makes sense.
And the Kickstarter came at a time when I'd finished what I thought was the final draft. It turned out to just be a draft. And we ran the Kickstarter. I was able to commission a bunch of art to go in the book, and ended up rewriting a lot of it almost from scratch after the Kickstarter. Part of that was like I was just young, and I think when I ran the campaign, I was like, "This is basically done." And then it turned out that, looking back at it, I thought, "Oh, the writing could be better." And so, a couple years later, people started getting their books, and it was kind of a long time in coming, but it's been a really rewarding process, and I keep getting to run games in the setting and push ideas farther and adjust things and kind of customize it. I take the Keith Baker approach. He's the one who originally created Eberron, and it was eventually collaborated on with other people, but that's another D&D setting. And I take the Keith Baker approach, which is that everything in the book is sort of standard canon, but your version of Dark Plane can be different than what's said in the book. And there aren't like novels and campaigns that you then have to go in and like retroactively know what happened in the continuity. Like the book is just a launching point for other people to be inspired and run their own version.
I love that. That's yeah. I'll never not be impressed by that. Um, so cool. So, Dark Plane, Blood of My Blood. We got cosmic horror. We have this gritty and like not even gritty is the word. I think like oozing.
Yeah, it's like full of dread and
Yeah.
mystery, and it's about kind of being seduced by that feeling of like, I don't know what's going to happen, but if I find out what's going to happen, it's going to be terrifying.
Right. Yeah. Oh, okay, good. And then on the flip side, Emma, talk to me about Pitfalls and Ponies. What can viewers expect from it?
Pitfalls and Ponies is a My Little Pony Dungeons and Dragons crossover campaign. I am using the Tales of Equestria system. It's an actual book you can buy, and you can play it with your friends or your children or your siblings. I've written my own homebrew story for the game, so you don't have to worry about spoilers. And the stream is going to be family friendly because we're ponies, so we won't be cursing. We won't be talking about like adult stuff. So if you have a young person in your life, even if it's just like a baby and you don't want, cursing around them, you can watch the stream, listen to the stream, and not have to worry about that. I kind of like Graham. I don't want to give away too much with the plot because I don't want to spoil
No,
any surprises.
totally.
But I will share. I have something to share. I have many of them, so I think I will just choose a couple of them that look pretty cool. So the reason I wanted to make Pitballs and Ponies was because I bought these My Little Pony Dungeons and Dragon inspired figurines back during
So
quarantine.
good.
I like texted Justin and I was like, Justin, look, and he was like, you've got to buy those. And so I did, and I've got
That's
quite
my
a few of
trick.
them here.
Whenever I think something's cool, by the way, I just convince a friend to buy it so that I feel like at least I have know somebody who has it.
And they are really cute. Like they each have a little outfit. They have their own little unique cutie marks. I will say I'm a little disappointed that they don't have real hair and that the hair is plastic, but I knew that when I bought them. So I can't do like the My Little Pony like brush the hair thing. But they're really, really cute. And so I knew that when I bought these, I wanted to write a campaign that would allow like for the world of these ponies. So all right, I'll stop showing off these figurines. But
That's so cute.
Never
so that
stop
was
showing
my
off those figures.
inspiration. That was my inspiration for the campaign. And to prepare for this, I have been watching My Little Pony. I had watched My Little Pony before. Like I think I want to say like the first 4 seasons when it first came out, and I heard about it. I was like, oh, this sounds fun, and I watched it up to I think basically up to where spoilers up to where we meet Princess Twilight Sparkle, the alicorn. So
What?
so now I'm watching the rest of it. It started as research, and now I'm just like, I love this show so much. I don't know if I can claim the brony status, but I do have the merch and I am watching the show a lot. So it's very cute. It's well written. And I know Graham likes it too. So I was excited to get to discuss it with him. We almost had him on as a player. Who knows? Maybe there'll be a special bonus episode. We'll see.
Yeah, I'd
Um,
love to do it
That's
if I get the time.
Um,
Yeah, I would love to say that I started watching My Little Pony because I have young daughters, but it's not true at all. I started watching it when I didn't have kids. My wife and I would watch it. We just needed something wholesome, and anyway, I love it.
It
No,
has really great
totally.
lessons, really great songs. The animation, it's just well conceived. I enjoy it. Like I enjoy it as an adult person, just for my own personal enjoyment, and I'm not ashamed to say that.
Good. I love it. Yeah, I've really come into I've really come to love like all sorts of animation lately, as opposed to just the ones that I think a grown man should be allowed to, watch. You know what I mean? Like there's kind of a stigma I think that goes along with watching some of these, and I think that used to bother me, and now it's like, no, screw it. If it's a good show, I'm gonna watch it. Like,
Yeah, I've got opinions about that.
good.
Because
Well,
the thing is, we as adults don't have a lot of media that we can consume that teaches in ways that are, I guess you would call it overt. Something like My Little Pony, it has a moral and a lesson attached to every episode. And some of those things for the audience, for the kids, is stuff that they may not have learned and stuff they, if not hearing for the first time, at least they're able to internalize it better because of the show.
yeah.
And we as adults don't do that. We just think that, okay, like we're done. I've learned all the lessons. I have nothing more that I need to learn. The only way that we really experience stuff like that is when you see sort of like inspiration porn. Sorry to like, that's kind of a weird term, but like the whole genre of things like, wow, this movie's so inspiring and based on a true story. But those things they tend to be made to regurgitate or like refeed you stuff that you already believe to like confirm this sort of self-satisfaction. It's not about bettering yourself or learning a lesson. Anyway, so I get annoyed when people think that adults can't watch stuff that's like overtly meant to teach you morals.
I think if the last 4 years have shown us everything, it's that there are quite a few adults in this world. who need to learn lessons that maybe we all thought we had learned as children. And I'm not saying that to be mean.
No.
I watched an episode the other day, and the moral of that episode was that sometimes you're going to feel left out if your friends are doing something without you because you chose to do something else, and it's okay to feel like bad about that, but also you can't be passive aggressive about it, which is actually a pretty like advanced lesson like for a child to learn, that it's okay to feel jealous, but you have to like be able to express yourself using your words and
Yeah.
not like by like taking negative action against somebody. So I like that's something that I need to be reminded too. You know, it's like, oh yeah, that's right. Like I can just say like, hey, I'm sad that I didn't get to hang out with you guys, and now I feel left out.
Yeah, I could not agree more.
Totally. Good talk, everybody. That was really good. I'm gonna move along here to kind of combine a few of these. What are you most looking forward to in your campaign? Like you personally, not even what you want your audience to like, you know, be excited about. Just is there something specific that like you can't wait to see or do? And don't give away spoilers, obviously, but any thoughts on that? You guys?
Yeah, I do have some. I don't
Go ahead,
necessarily want to
Grant.
jump in first, but I'm very much looking forward to sharing some of the creations of my friends. You know, like I've gathered some of the most creative people I know, people I really respect, and obviously they're not the only ones I've ever played with that I feel that way about. Call out to all our friends in chat who we've played with, but I'm really excited for people to see the stories, the characters that have been come up with. Ted Bushman composed music that we're going to be using for the stream, which is very exciting. And I literally cried when I first heard it because it so perfectly matched my idea of what the tone would be. So I'm excited to share that stuff, and much less like the stuff that I'm sitting here like taking notes, being like, oh, how do I scare these people? I'm much more excited about getting a chance to enjoy along with the audience the things that the players come up with, because there are definitely going to be moments where the players show some great creativity, and also I will get to see the players' reactions as I reveal things that they really wish they hadn't found out.
So good. I'm pumped as a player. This is gonna be
Me
great.
too.
Excited.
Emma, thoughts?
I'm I'm just excited to see what choices the characters make. I think especially too because My Little Pony, the whole friendship is magic. Like the whole idea is that like you're stronger together, and that we always have the choice, right? Like are we going to try to like talk through this, or are we going to jump to violence? Are we going to make assumptions, or are we going to ask questions? So I'm just really interested to see how I don't think that I'm like a genius and that I've created like the best thing in the world. You know what I mean? But like I'm interested to see what my players do, because then that'll really decide like where we go and what happens and what kind of story we're telling. So I think it's like when you are in dress rehearsal, right? And you're like just waiting for the audience because you know that once the audience gets in, it'll totally change the entire thing. Like I'm waiting for like everyone else to come in to see like, okay, so what does this become when everyone's actually here?
Yeah.
um I'm excited for that.
Love it. Fantastic. Okay.
You kind of talked about this before, Justin, but like there is the nervousness, and I feel it. I know Dan Dillon, who works on D&D, recently tweeted this, that like literally every single time he's about to DM, he gets this like sinking feeling and wants to run and hide. And I know what that's like, because I do feel it too. I don't know if I feel it every single time I play, but pretty close. Even if you're confident, even if you know it's going to happen, like you've run the adventure 10 times, like I have some that I've run recently, you still get nervous because there's so much unknown.
Yeah. And it's an exciting nervous for sure,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
you know, it's a good feeling. It's a good challenge, I think, like to get over that hurdle every time. Very much like doing like, you know, improvised comedy or something like that for the first time.
Yes.
Or even the 80th time, you know, you never know what's going to happen. And so there's always that like unknown that's For sure, I get it.
I recently told Bethany, who also works in theater, that she's my wife. So I told her recently that it's not really like doing improv, because it's kind of like it because you don't know what's going to happen. But in improv, you have the freedom of there's no pressure to know. But in D&D, especially if you're running like published content, and it's less true with a casual game, but when you're doing it like for your job and you're running for a special event, uh, it feels like you're constantly in tech rehearsal. For those people who have done theater before, like it's that feeling of I'm about to go do something and I should know the outline, I should know my lines or whatever, but I don't yet. And it's like it lives in this weird place. But you do eventually and I think it's most successful when you learn to embrace the chaos, embrace the uncertainty. But it can be hard.
Yeah, that makes me think, okay, so I have a question for you guys now, because I haven't been DMing as long as either Justin or Graham. That looks awesome, Justin. Loving that.
Thank you. I just did the silver accents.
It adds so much.
I'm just gonna add a little dry brushing to the black, and then I think I'm ready for just like touches. I decided not to do the base right now. I'm gonna do it later because I couldn't find my safety pin to unclog one of the paints. Emma, sorry, what were you saying?
Well, so when I first started DMing, I thought that I had, okay, I mean this with love, but I think I pulled a Travis McElroy, and like I thought I had to have all of this exposition just ready for the very beginning to just like, here are all these NPCs I created, see this big beautiful world. And I say that with love because I love the Adventure Zone. But now, like, it kind of, depending on the session, some days I'm like, okay, I've spent 4 hours preparing and I have everything ready now because I needed to have this prepared. And then other nights, like with our Scooby-Doo campaign especially, I'll sit down and I'll be like, okay, so what's gonna happen tonight? Maybe this will happen, maybe that'll happen, I don't know, we'll see what. And so how much do you guys prepare? How much do you lean into improv? What's your process for getting ready look like for a campaign or a session?
It widely varies. I'm gonna be shamelessly honest and say sometimes. Here's one thing that I've learned, and I can't remember who I picked this up from, but it's everybody wants to like create the story, and I feel like this is like a Matt Colville thing probably. Everybody wants to create the story and build the world and have like that overarching like idea of what the players are gonna like encounter and all that stuff, but nobody actually wants to like do the prep of tonight's session, you know? Like okay, now I actually who are they actually meeting tonight? Like who could they actually come across? Oh, what does that person sound like? Oh, what does that person know? I need to make sure I know all that information. What's in this room that they could find? What is this monster? Do I have the stat block for that monster? Oh, well, what if it's this monster instead? Do I have, there's like all like the little details and like, in my opinion, the more boring stuff that you have to like prepare yourself for. And sometimes I'm just like, I don't have the mindset to do that right now. And sometimes I will just walk blindly. I'll just rest on my laurels. I'll rest on the fact that, hey, I know this world. I know enough of what I'm doing, and we'll just see what happens. And to be honest with you, sometimes, I hate saying this, but sometimes those are the best sessions. When I didn't have like things as prepared and I just had to kind of fly by the seat of my pants, I let my creativity do the talking, and it ended up kind of being good and like really making some leaps and bounds. I'm not saying to always do that, but I don't know. I think sometimes I'm prepared and like I said, have all that stuff ready, and sometimes I'm not, and it's just kind of different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I agree with you. I have different experiences depending on the format that it's taking. So, like I said, I run a lot of convention type play where you have a written adventure that has an author, and there's an expectation that you communicate the story that exists in that adventure. And so it becomes about like learning the text, and it is a lot like in theater, like learning lines or learning your cues. And that's what I talk about when I mean it feels like you're in tech rehearsal as you're about to go into D&D. And so those can be high pressure situations, and I have definitely run some where I felt like the adventure flopped, but I'm sure the players were like, oh, cool, that was fun, and like no big deal. but I put this pressure on myself. So I live in kind of this middle ground where it's the worst of both worlds. I am an obsessive over preparer. I like to read the adventure multiple times. I like to have all the text in whatever, if I'm using Roll20 as the virtual tabletop, which I do a lot for work, I like to have the text in there. I make all my notes. I catalog my own changes that I want to make or adjustments or like how to play up a certain thing. I spend way too much time. And especially if it's a sandbox or like a more casual, this is the irony. If it's a more casual game where the players are directing where they want to go, I will sit down for like 10 hours and write out an outline of all the NPCs and locations in every town that they might go to that's within literally like 60 miles of their current location. I've run Storm King's Thunder twice, and that's how I run that campaign. And it's a ton of work, but like the reason I do it is that I love being able to be like, oh, you guys want to go over here? Well, I do have some notes on that. And like, I can just springboard, and then improv comes from the notes. So I end up throwing out a lot of stuff that I prepare. Like almost every single time I play a game, I will throw out at least 25% of what I've prepared, sometimes like 75%. Yeah. Wow. So I live in this horrible place where I like to prepare about 2 hours for every hour of play. Realistically, I end up preparing about 1 hour for every hour of play. And then in bad situations, I'll get like a real bad crunch and I will prepare very little. And that's where there's a ton of improv. But the challenge is that no matter how much you prepare to like really be listening, and like that's where being an improver helps a lot, because like I know the techniques of how to like respond to what they like, hear that response just in tone of voice or in like questions they ask, things like that.
It's funny you say that, because so that's how I prepared for Spellbound when I first started. Like I made a map of Highgard, and I made a map of the castle and every floor in the castle, and I looked up what real rooms exist in castles and labeled it all on a graph, and I invented like 50 NPCs that existed in this town, and like I did all this work. And then spoilers, if you start listening to Spellbound, they don't really spend that much time in the town before the call to adventure takes them to where the adventure is. And so after that I was like, I really didn't have to do all that prep work. It was nice to know that all of those people were there. But so now I try to do, I think this is called like, okay, I don't remember what this is called, but like I just have a list of things that are important plot points, and no matter like where they go, they might not get all of them, like depending on the choices they make, but it's like, okay, this is an important NPC, or this is an important piece of information, or this is an important like event that needs to happen. And so I have that ready, and I let them decide what they want to do, and depending on what they decide, they might miss the important event because they weren't there, or they might meet the important NPC that they have to meet, but maybe the situation is different now because of where they chose to go. Maybe that NPC is in trouble now, or maybe that NPC is ready to try and assassinate them now instead of trying to pretend to be their friend or whatever. So that's how I try to do it now if I know we're going to be having like a role play heavy game. But if there's like any kind of dungeon involved, I really have gotten into like building the dungeons in Roll20, and like this is like only my second or third one, I think, but I just built a dungeon that my players are exploring in Spellbound. You guys haven't heard the episode yet. It's not out yet. But they are going into a dungeon, and it was really fun to build it and find all of like the graphics and think about like what traps or what items or what creatures would be in there. And so that's a whole fun thing that I feel like is a completely different side of it, and I use a completely different part of my brain for that.
It's a part of the hobby, like dungeon building and adventure creation and prep, that is not very well explained in the actual rule books.
No, It's not.
But fortunately, there does exist this brilliant community of people who give resources and advice. And this didn't exist when I was a kid playing D&D. You know, the internet didn't have sites like Sly Flourish or the Alexandrian or Power Score. Let's see, what is that website? Oh man,
it's okay. I'm gonna get these from you later. I'm just gonna ask you to text me.
I've actually thought about doing like resource guides, because I read so much of that type of stuff, and I'm constantly looking for more advice, and often like for specific things that I'll be running, like how's the best way to run the first chapter of Storm King's Thunder, or things like that. But yeah, there's a lot of just a wealth of information and advice. I just wish that D&D would help for people who only have bought the books and don't know that all that exists. I do wish there was a better way to teach those things, because what you actually see is there are a lot of designers these days who were not raised with an understanding of how some of these things that were just passed on from person to person, and you end up with pretty flawed design in a lot of published material, and it makes me sad.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know. We can talk about that another time. That's another topic.
I use 2 Minute Tabletop to make my dungeons. I'm a patron of theirs for like I think $2 or
they're great.
$5 a month or something. Or maybe it's just $1 a month. But they have all these really cool graphics that are really cute. Like it's like there'll be like a monster, but I sent you pictures, Graham, of like a creepy monster, but it's like a cute creepy monster.
Yeah.
And so I've been using that for the dungeons I've been creating, and it's well worth the $1 I pay them a month.
I love that.
Yeah, there's
so
a bunch
yeah,
of
I
those.
think
I
in
use
the
some of
end,
those too.
the best, answer to all of this is just that, although there aren't many rules or like rather guides given from D&D itself that kind of teach you how to prepare and teach you how to run things, there's really no one way to do it, right? And I mean, I think that's kind of also the beauty of it all. So, yeah. Cool. I have two let's just say one silly question here I want to ask you before I move on. Actually, I sent you guys a list of these questions beforehand, and I do want to hear what you prepared for one of them. So
Justin, I did not get a list of questions.
Uh-oh. I got them. I
That's
didn't
even
prepare
better.
anything, though.
Okay,
I just read 'em.
well then never mind. I'm not gonna. I emailed. It's fine. It was a last minute thought today. It's not a big deal.
Okay, now I see it.
Do you want me to put you on the spot or?
No, no, I'm teasing you.
Okay,
I'm happy to improvise.
So the last two things I want to talk about with your shows. Number one, silly question. Number one, if you could have one celebrity guest, who would you choose and why? Any ideas?
I'm a huge fan of Critical Bard, and I think that for me, that would be an awesome guest to have. He's a D&D streamer and content creator in a few different ways, and anyway, he's just fantastic. I would love to have. He's very funny, but also like a very invested player. You see it in the different streams that he's done. Anyway, so he's a person that I would definitely want to have on.
Totally. Good answer.
See, I would be so nervous if there was a celebrity at my table. Like that would make it so uncomfortable for me. I
That's a
wouldn't want to
given, though, right?
invite them. Oh,
And,
I
like,
mean, I guess
you played with me at your table.
yeah. I think okay, if I could play with someone, if I could invite someone to my table who I consider to be a celebrity. Okay, Laura Bailey, just because she's fun and cute and would be fun to play with. But there's also so many like not Critical Role people that I would be interested in playing with, like
Totally.
B Zelda from the Broadswords, or Victoria Rogers, or there's just so many like smaller RPGs that are podcasts that I listen to that I'm like, oh, those people are so cool. I like what they're doing. It would be cool if we played a one shot together, but I haven't had the courage to ask them. So I think I would be more interested in inviting like someone who's not a celebrity, but whose work I really admire, and see if they would want to do anything like a one shot.
Totally. I mean, and I guess celebrity is all technically like subjective. So I mean, a celebrity to me would be Justin Alexander, but like that's because that'd be huge to me, right?
Yeah.
Not that he isn't like a celebrity. I mean, he's also just really well known. But cool. At one point, I would have said Graham Ward. Like that's a celebrity,
Yeah.
But now he's just a
So
friend.
you fulfilled your dream at the first D&D game you ever played?
Yes.
We call BS on that.
All right, and then finally, I wanted you guys to describe your show using alliteration only. Can you do so? Both of you have very alliterative names with your show: Pitfalls and Ponies, Blood of My Blood. I was just curious. Can you give me like a one sentence description of your show using alliteration? This was the only reason that I sent you guys the stuff beforehand, because I was like, ooh, I don't want to put them on the spot too hard.
Okay, I'm gonna try it. Ready?
Mhm.
Creepy cultists crawl, cross the sea,
Yeah.
uh, carrying cargo, creatively cruel.
I love it.
I think
That
that's all I got.
that was great. That was great. Emma?
I
Ah,
hate
no.
you. Pretty ponies, prance periodically, perfect, peace and painful, pitfalls, uh, precarious penalties of,
Oh.
uh, pinatas.
Oh, good.
I hope there are lots of pinatas,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah, you
Now
really
there
set the
has
bar
to
now.
be.
Yay.
Well, a
Fantastic.
pinata is a type of pony in a way.
I love it. You're right. It's true. Um, okay. Well, once again, you guys can tune in. Again, I like to say tune in. Is that still a proper term? Technically not, but like people still
What do the
say
kids
that.
say these days?
You guys can check out those shows, Pitfalls and Ponies, Sunday mornings, starting this Sunday, this upcoming Sunday, the 21st, at there a plethora of pints. That's good. I like that. Good job, chat. Um,
Hey, dude.
um, yeah, so sorry, Pitfalls and Ponies, Sunday mornings at 10:30 Central, and Blood of My Blood Friday nights, starting this Friday, 3 days away, February 19th, at 8 p.m. Central. So, before I let you guys go, if you have another 10 minutes or so, I want. So today is Fat Tuesday, and I don't know about you, but I had way too much food for dinner. I'm not even Catholic, but it's just something to celebrate during quarantine. And so anyway, I had a little bit of like a which is better questionnaire here for you, and I'm just let's discuss. So this is what I'm calling this food fight. These are all fictional foods, and I just want to
my
know
gosh.
which
I'm gonna
one
win.
you think. Not even would be better. Just which one would you actually want to eat,
Okay.
and why? And why? That's important. So, the first one is butterbeer versus blue milk.
Butterbeer.
The hell is blue milk?
Blue milk from Star Wars.
Oh, gosh, I'm
Oh.
not a real nerd.
It's what he drinks. Both.
Luke
Luke
sounds
loves blue
horrible.
milk.
You can actually drink the blue milk at Disney World now, I think. They have
Really?
like the Star Wars area, and
So,
I watched something about their food court, and I'm pretty sure you can get the blue milk.
in a way, then this is Disney World versus Universal Studios because you can drink butterbeer at Universal Studios.
Yes, I've had the butterbeer. It's pretty darn good.
It's very sweet.
I like butterscotch. That's why I choose butterbeer.
They have
And I
blue
have it in my
and green
fridge.
milk. They have green milk. Is that a Star Wars thing? Green milk. Fantastic.
I like that they have.
Okay, so you both are saying butterbeer. Okay, good. Number two, and Graham's gonna correct me on pronunciation here, but limbus bread versus eat me cookies.
Eat me cookies.
Lembas, no question.
Okay, explain yourselves.
Cookies taste good. Limbus bread doesn't. I'm excited to see what happens when I eat the cookie.
Oh, dare you. So, I'll try not to go on an obnoxious diatribe, but in the book, Lembas is delicious not only to the taste, but to the soul.
Oh.
And it fills you. It's not just about filling your stomach, it's about filling your soul. And it actually lifts your spirits, fills you with hope, love, and all good things. including comfort and taste. So there is no question in my mind. But that's, you know, in the movie,
Why did they
there's
do that
like,
in the movie then? That
I
was
don't know. It
better.
makes me kind of angry. I kind of get frustrated that they're like, we need the scene of Sam complaining about and there is in the moment, there's in the book, there's a moment where he says like, well, we've been eating the same thing for a long time, but it's not, you know, anyway, of course my mind goes to the book and like the wonderful experience that lembas is meant to be. It's also, they don't call it lembas bread. Lembas is the name of the thing. So it's just lembas.
Aw.
Ah, well, my apologies.
This is
Chat.
what it's like to watch The Lord of the Rings with me, that I just violently cringe at too much of it and ruin everyone's fun.
No, I love watching nerdy things with you. What? Never mind. That's a topic for another time. Okay, great. So far, Butterbeer has 2 votes. You guys were split on Limbus versus Eat Me Cookies.
Even knowing what I know now, I still probably would eat the cookie.
You just never know, right? You're gonna grow
just
like
love
to the size of a
cookies.
house. Like what could happen?
It'd be venture.
Okay, number 3. Miss Trunchbull's chocolate cake or Miss Lovett's pies.
Ugh. I'm not gonna eat a human.
Does the chocolate cake come with getting thrown across the room?
Of course, yes. And
Yeah.
you have to eat all of it.
Yeah.
Oh God, I think I'm gonna throw up either way.
Yeah.
Cake, come on.
Yeah, cake.
Chocolate cake.
Chat,
I'm
any
not gonna eat a human.
any votes yay or nay on either of those? So you're both going cake because you don't want to be cannibals. It's a good choice. It's a good choice.
Yeah, seems safe.
It's a smart way to go.
Also, I think I could eat a whole cake. Like I believe in myself.
Yeah, that boy did, right?
If a child can do it,
I forget the boy's name.
obviously, so can I.
All right, number 4. Scooby Snacks versus Reptar Bars.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I know. It's hard. What would
Now,
you do?
With both of them, we don't really get a description of what the actual taste or properties are.
It's true.
So it's
I
a little
did. I
difficult.
considered writing descriptions for each of these, and then I just was like, nah. We may not even get to this segment. Who knows?
Probably Scooby Snacks.
I'm gonna say Scooby Snacks too, because I imagine that there is a broad variety of different types of Scooby Snacks, including savory and sweet, but dog safe. So I feel like while a Reptar bar would be nostalgic and tasty, I could get more from the Scooby Snack.
See, this is the kind of reasoning we're playing this game for, folks. Okay? And everybody step your game up. Except for Emma. She just did. So, Graham, step
So
your
me.
game up.
Hey, you threw me at a bunch of pop culture references. I don't swim well in that water.
Oh, no. That's all right. I'm ignoring my painting completely because this is too much fun. Sorry, you guys are all staring at this screen over here. All right, number 5, Willy Wonka's Everlasting Gobstopper versus the White Witch's Turkish Delight. I only paired these two because they both have a WW as the person giving them to you.
Turkish Delight is actually good.
What does
as
it
opposed
taste
to a
like?
Gobstopper.
Yeah, what is Turkish Delight?
I don't know how to describe it.
Okay.
I've only had it once, and it
Is it
was, and I
toffee?
remember that it was good. It's not toffee. It's like
I like this.
candied, I think you would say, but
I'm gonna choose Everlasting Gobstopper because it lasts forever. I'll never need another one.
I mean, you can't argue with that logic. But you're going Turkish, Graham?
I think so.
The
Yeah.
delight. Oh, that delight. Turkish delight. It's gooey, kind of jelly, covered in powdered sugar. Thanks, chat. Thanks, Reb Munoz. It's hard not to say your full name.
Hi, Red Munoz.
Thank you.
92.
Thanks, Reb Munoz 92. Okay, well, good to know. Maybe I'll try it one day. All right, number 6, Krabby Patty versus Ninja Turtles pizza.
Krabby Patty.
Pizza.
Yeah? Reasoning?
never watched-
Any specific reasoning?
I never watched the Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Well,
I just like pizza.
Sad.
I'm from the New York area.
I love pizza too, but I've always wanted to eat a Krabby Patty.
well, okay. Good.
Yes, Reb Munoz, I've never watched a single Ninja Turtles ever.
You should get on that. Um,
One thing at a time,
this is
Justin.
the last one, and this was a hard one for me to even write. Would you rather be invited to the Lost Boys imaginary feast from Hook, or to a Christmas feast at Hogwarts? What do you think? I mean, in either situation, you're walking away quite happy.
I know my answer.
What's your answer?
Hogwarts.
Hogwarts.
Every time. I loved Harry Potter growing up, and it would be so cool to like eat in the Great Hall.
Love it. Graham?
Yeah, I think I would say the same answer because I really like a good old British feast to me is much more appealing than imaginary food. I really like people make fun of UK food, like traditional English food, for example, all the time, but I really like it.
Sure. I don't know that I've really ever really had a full meal of. I mean, I have, but not. Not
You know,
enough to
it's
really have an
like
opinion,
meat and
I think.
potatoes
Yeah.
kind of stuff, and I just like
Yeah.
it.
I mean, it's pretty much what I was raised on. My grandparents that I lived with growing up were they had lived in Germany for a while, so I feel like that kind of carried over into what my nana cooked for us at dinner.
My grandparents are similar. Like originally the family's from Norway, so very like meat and potatoes, like hearty food.
Yeah, exactly. Hearty food. I'm a hearty boy.
You're a
I'm
hearty boy.
not-
Okay, you two are Frank and Joe, and I'll be Nancy. Go.
All right. Well, that is the end of the food fight, Fat Tuesday edition. Everybody, probably the only one we'll ever have because I can't think of more fictional foods.
Yeah,
I
you
was, like,
blew all your
racking
options.
We'll do more fights, but they won't be food related. Yeah, I have nothing left. my tank is empty. Okay, well, we're just coming around to about an hour and a half in here. I think it's probably about time we take an intermission and say goodbye to our friends Graham and Emma. If you are interested, I am going to probably chill for another hour or so and start painting a Captain America who does look. I get the skull, yeah. Colossian, I totally see what you're saying about the skull. It's the chin strap and the mask. It's just all of it. But I will be. Love you too, Reb Munoz 92.
Yes.
Thanks for watching. Yeah, so anybody wants to come back and chill with me, I'll be just chilling and painting and talking. And if you want to ask any more questions, I'll be here for you. Graham, Emma, thank you so much for being my guests. I look forward to seeing you both this week as we go into your worlds and explore. I hope all of our watchers go and watchers. Yeah, this is. I feel like I'm on OnlyFans now.
Yeah, you feel like it. You feel like an alien describing human activity. The watchers shall plug into their devices and consume.
Oh,
This
gosh.
is what happens when you leave me on here for too long. So, cool. Well, anything left to say from you guys?
Good night, every pony.
Yay!
Love it. We'll be right back in 5 minutes. I'll be right back in 5 minutes.
Thanks.
Bye.
Like quivering.
And
Also, is it soft, Justin?
I'm sorry? Is what soft? What?
Your Tamagotchi.
Oh, yes.
Cripes.
Okay, sorry.
Because it said it was like a furry one, and I was like, what?
I don't know. I haven't
In my
opened it
day,
yet. I honestly
were
haven't.
all- You haven't even
I'm gonna
opened
open it
it?
on camera. That was the whole idea.
Oh.
I don't know. Okay. So here's the thing.
I love that you're
Kelsey got me
acting
a
like this
Tamagotchi
negligence
for
is your
Christmas
idea.
because I don't really know how to take care of them, and I've never had one before.
Mhm.
And so, to spite me, really, she sent me
Yes.
these to make me take care of them. So let me switch over screens here. Let's see if this works.
While you're doing that, Justin, I just want to thank everybody. If you followed the stream today, thank you so much. When we logged on tonight, we saw that we had jumped up from 26 to 34 followers. So thank you.
Justin, the hand cam, very cool.
Hand cam?
Yeah.
Hey guys, look, it's my
Hand
hand.
cam.
Woo!
We assume that could be anybody's hands.
It could be.
You have very nice hands,
He does.
Justin.
Thank you. I
have
wouldn't
hand
be doing
modeling
this
hands.
if I was in any doubt about my hands, but I do
Mine
like
look
my
like
hands.
bloody,
How
crusty,
do you
like.
get this out? This, I expected this to be much easier when I decided to do
Your
it on
unboxing
camera.
videos so far.
This is good. Okay.
Awesome.
Ooh, it is soft. Ooh.
Cute.
How
It's a soft one, and I think
Like
it's
silicone?
No.
Oh.
No.
It's
like,
so
It's
cute.
fuzzy.
I already love it, and it's not even a little alive guy yet.
Okay. So wait, have you both had Tamagotchis before?
Yeah, they're not usually soft.
No,
they're usually
I-
hard. Like if you hit someone with several of them,
Well,
it would
this
hurt
is
them.
20th anniversary.
I wanted
Tamagotchi.
one when I
how
was
I
a
know.
kid, and I only ever got my cousin's old dead ones. And then I just
Oh.
What?
pretended that they were alive.
Oh God,
That's really sad.
that's so
You're
sad.
also way younger than me, who was prime Tamagotchi time.
Okay.
Mhm.
So if I pull this, I'm gonna pull this, right?
And then you're never gonna sleep again. Yeah, this is real. I'm so excited
Oh,
for
it
you.
made a noise like a Pokemon.
Oh, the egg! Oh, you can see the egg!
Okay.
Oh my gosh! What do you
What do I do?
do? You press a
There's
button
What do I
three
do now?
buttons
Do I
do
milk
things.
it? What?
No, it.
I think-
you raise it.
It's
On-
an egg.
Push
on
one
my
of the buttons.
game, on
Push.
my own Tamagotchi. I have to like click the egg to help it hatch. So maybe if you click a button, it'll help it hatch.
Tap the screen. I'm like an old
That does
man.
things to it.
I'm like an
Or maybe you just wait. Maybe you just wait for it to hatch.
Push each button, see if it does something, and if not, then
Oh. Oh
I
no!
heard
I
a
started a
giggle.
timer. That's how long it has to live unless I help it.
No, what?
12 minutes. Wait, is it a clock too?
Oh yeah, you're setting
oh
the
yeah,
time.
you can set the clock.
What?
That was always the excuse
okay.
in class that it was like, no, it's a clock. Fourth grade.
ZP director, you are right. It has
Direction.
begun.
Oh man. Oh man. Oh man. 8.
This is
Wait, should I
content.
set it to like something to
8:51.
where it won't bother me in the middle of the night?
No, this is just a clock.
Oh, I pushed
Also-
the wrong button. It thinks it's 8 o'clock. Oh man.
Now you're
It's in
lying
mountain
to it
time.
about what time it is. You're a horrible father.
Oh,
This is how we learn.
Okay. Now what?
I think you just like. All right, I'm gonna
Oh,
look it
I'm gonna
up.
Google it. Yeah.
Yeah, what do you do with
There's
your
only 3 buttons. What am I supposed to
Tamagotchi?
do here?
Instructions. I bet it came with
Egg.
instructions, Justin.
Oh, it came with you know,
Surely.
children don't come with instructions. Oh, look, there's instructions.
Okay, there's a light that turns on.
D Monster says, "I think you wait. It taught us patience."
Oh,
Well, I
Ooh.
don't have patience. I never learned that as a child.
Well, maybe
Okay,
now's
everyone,
the time.
help me with the instructions.
it's a lot.
How to
CP
play
director
egg.
says one of my crushes in middle school
Okay.
had a Tamagotchi. One day she made me take care of it. That's when I lost the crush on her.
Oh no!
Aww.
Cat with
Oh my god! It
glasses
beeped
on.
at me. You guys, it's shaking. This is like
Justin, it's
when-
gonna hatch.
It's hatching.
Justin, you gotta hold it.
What is it? It's a little guy.
It's a little guy. Show it. Show
I'm
us, Justin.
trying,
Show
I'm
us.
trying. Hang on.
There, we can see. A little
There.
higher.
Oh.
A little lower. There, right there. Oh, look at him. His little
Yay,
blob.
it's hungry.
Look at him, you guys. We did this together.
Uh,
All,
Does
there's
that
no
mean
book
we're-
that'll tell you how to
all
raise a
15
Tamagotchi
of us,
right.
we did this.
But when those moments come, you'll know. Trust me, you'll know. Says Haruzard _
Thanks, Ruzard. Hey guys.
Oh,
yeah,
here's the button guide. Okay.
Hit me up
A
on
select.
Twitter with your parenting tips. Nerd Nachos.
You gotta feed it.
Well, what do I
A
feed
is
it?
select.
Okay.
B is execute, and C is cancel. Good to know. Press A.
Execute.
Execute like do.
Which
like
one's A?
do
The
it.
first one?
A is the one on the left.
Okay. There's
I
no
think
letters.
that it will be a baby for about an hour, so we might
Okay.
actually see it grow
Wait,
into a
guys, it's
child
screaming.
before the stream
It's screaming
ends.
at me.
It's
It's
talking to
hungry.
you.
What is it? Wait, what's it doing? I don't read pixel.
Dr. Shazam, yes.
Okay, now it's sleeping or it's blowing boogers. It's one of.
That's sleeping.
is it
In
breathing
anime, in
smoke?
Japanese anime, that can be like a sign that they're sleeping.
Okay.
Right, which
Okay.
is what I do when I sleep.
Yeah,
Is
Dr.
just
Shazam, it really
snot
takes a village.
bubbles.
Yeah.
It does.
Oh, Jinx, ZP director, you owe me not a Tamagotchi. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I'm just going to leave it be.
Don't
Let it sleep.
challenge
I'm going to let it sleep for a
Yeah.
little while, okay? We're
Don't
just gonna
challenge
keep
me
it right
about
here.
toys and what toys are good because I'll
Can
send
you
them
put it
to you.
where we can still see it? Yeah, like right there,
Is
so
that
we
good?
can like.
Can you still see it?
I think
Can
we'll
still
notice if
kind
something.
of see it,
doing.
right?
If you can elevate it a little bit, like if
Okay.
you've got a box you can set it on or something.
Maybe if I just
But
put
I
it
also
on the
don't
Streams
want
edge
to
of
make.
my
no.
wine glass.
No, don't
that
drop it in the wine.
Is that bad
Justin.
parenting?
Children and wine. Don't.
Mommy's
mix.
little helper, just drowning it.
Here, let me do this. I'll just do like this. Build a little fort.
Yay.
There we go.
we go.
Forts are
Fort.
good
What's
for
that?
children. Oh,
Yeah.
that's perfect.
That's cool. There we go. Great.
All right.
We can
Oh,
see
it's
it.
nine.
All right. Well, while they're sleeping, we need to name them too.
We do need to name them.
Well, what should we name them, chat?
Felicity. Oh yeah, chat.
Chat. What's the best name for this little monster? Is it a monster?
No, well,
we got
it's
an
not.
It's not like a
Egbert?
Pokemonster.
It's not a Digimonster.
You're a
We got a
please,
monster.
not
Felicity.
Pokemonster.
We got an Egbert.
Egbert.
Egbert's
I
cute.
like all of them. Welcome back, everybody. Thanks for sticking around. I'm going to be doing a little painting here. Yeah, if you were here for the first half, you probably saw me working. Oh, I guess I should probably switch to the right cue. Yeah, that Tamagotchi conversation. Yeah, I know. Last week, and so here I'll show you. I'll show you Egbert right now. He's sleeping. Hang on, let me switch. So here's Egbert right now, right there. Look at him sweeping. Little Z's coming up. He likes to go to bed early and wake up late, which I appreciate. But yeah, we hatched Egbert and watched him grow up. I'm gonna have to get a third camera, and it's just gonna be an Egbert cam, and it's just gonna be him like sitting in the corner chilling. He's cuter now that he has limbs. What? I disagree. I think he was cuter as a little baby, like just sphere, just like a little roly-poly, like jelly bean looking thing. Not that you're not cute now, Egbert. You're asleep. You can't hear me anyway. It doesn't matter. Add an Egbert cam. All right. Well, that's the first thing that I'm gonna save up for this stream is an Egbert cam. That's good. Watching my twins in high school. Ran across. Oh no! It got unclipped and got crushed by a car. The Tamagotchi, your twins Tamagotchi, they trusted you. Brad Munoz 92. Do you forgive yourself? Just kidding. I honestly didn't even know what I was doing. Her digital pet got hit by a car. Yeah. Kept it alive for so long. Well, that's all it takes, everyone. And I think that's an important lesson for all of us to learn. It only takes one moment where you're not watching your Tamagotchi. You'll never forgive yourself. Well, I forgive you. Because, look, we're only human, and they're only Tamagotchis. I think that speaks for itself. This whole Tamagotchi thing started because Keloshin, Kelsey on Ghostlight. Oh god, I doxed her. I'm so sorry. Oh no, nobody could have figured that out. Anyway, she'll dox herself eventually, I'm sure. Don't listen to him. It's okay, he's asleep anyway. Yeah, Kelsey got me this Tamagotchi because I basically trash talked them earlier last year. Because I never really had one and I didn't really get the gist or understand what they are. Yeah, I've cleansed you. Yeah, you are forgiven. You can now live your life freely. That's all you were waiting for. Okay. So if you were watching in the first half, you'll recognize this bad boy. Now I added some shading to that head. I think it looks much better and less like reflective. I also highlighted the eyes and teeth. I added the silver and the black across the body, and you can still kind of see just like the different parts where like the darkness shading in there versus the brighter highlighted areas where like the light would be hitting it. Thank you. I think it looks pretty good. I'm pretty pumped. I'm pretty happy with where it's at. Got to clean up little things, got to build, do the base and stuff like that. But I'm going to be done with Red Skull for tonight because as promised, I'm going to start Captain America. How do my hands not shake? Well, wine. But also, I don't know. I keep my elbows pressed down and tucked in a little bit, and then I'll like kind of bunch up and really just like sometimes I put my palms, like my wrists together when I'm painting, so I have something, so I'm not like just kind of free balling. That's not the right term, but you get the gist. Yeah, I practice, I guess, is the answer. Let's see. So Cap here. Nice word choice. You're welcome. That was just for you. So you can see I did some spray paint, and I wish I had like an airbrush to actually do better, but I just did some really rough spray painting on it just to kind of get an idea of the lighting that I'm going for from this angle. You can see the white sections versus the gray, which makes him look like he has a skull, which is fine. So yeah, Captain freaking America. I need to pull up a reference photo real quick. Like I said last week, the biggest thing that I'm concerned or worried about with this is the freehanding that I'm going to have to do when it comes to the shield. Because a lot of times when, like, this is the same reason I don't necessarily want to paint just like a canvas. I've tried teaching myself more of that kind of thing, but ultimately it's not exactly what I'm best at. I like to color things that already have shape and structure, and it's like coloring inside the lines more, which is easier, of course. But the problem with this shield is that there's these tiny little ridges, but that's not really going to help too much. I don't know, maybe I'm overthinking it. It is bigger than it looks, but I don't know. I'm a little concerned. It freaks me out a little bit. I'm gonna have to probably go over it a couple times or something, but maybe not. I'm overthinking it. Let's just get painting. Let's get painting, y'all. So I gotta pick some good colors here. I'm gonna do the base last because nobody wants to see me paint the ground. That's boring. Thanks, Reb Munoz. I appreciate you. How are you doing tonight? You staying okay with all the weather and stuff? I don't know if anybody knows, but it is winter time. And here in Kansas City, we've been getting like rolling blackouts and just all kinds of crazy stuff, man. It's been a crazy time. Shake, shake, shake your paints. Shake your paints so they don't... they mix well. I never promised I'd be good at coming up with songs. Just wine and drawing D&D stuff. Amen. I'm with you. Okay. Let's start with the blue. I think that's probably the best way to start this off. So, I'm going to go with these two. Now, if you're watching for the first time and you're like, Justin, you got to get yourself some better paints because Reaper is just like, the basics. I'm here to tell you, you're right, and I don't care. Because I like to do a lot with the cheap stuff. So, that's how that goes. My album, I am gonna make an album. You mark my words. It's it'll happen. Yeah, there's gonna be like a greatest hits before I put anything else out. All right, let's see. Let's put some blue over here. Yeah, got that blue. So that is dragon blue. I'm gonna put a little heather blue out there too. Heather blue. It's much more like mellow. I don't know if you can see that. So heather blue, dragon blue. And now I'm gonna mix the two together a little bit. See if we can't find a happy medium. Get a little water in there. Let's see what we like here. I don't want it to be too muted. He's Captain America. He's wearing like the American flag on his body, and I do want it to be pretty bright, but just like with Red Skull, with these I'm kind of doing, cell shading in a way. Like I showed y'all last time, the two that I've done so far are Hulk, and I did these off stream. These were before I started the stream, so you can't find the video or anything, but I got the Hulk there, and then also Captain Marvel. I just love these figures. I love them. I like the chibi style. I love the idea of like using the cell shading and like getting that comic book feel in there. So again, that's kind of what we're going for here with Cap. He's not going to be completely blue and red and white, but he will have big sections of just those like bright colors, I think. I do need to make this a little darker though, I'm realizing. So we're going to add a little let's try just add a little purple on the side here. Just for some darkness. Okay. Yeah, I was honestly kind of worried about like streaming tonight just in case we had like blackouts happening or power outages and stuff. But kind of turned out it would be okay. All right, chat. Who is my favorite Marvel DC hero? Good question. Thanks for giving me something to talk about, because I was focused there. Favorite Marvel DC. That's not dark enough. Come on, man. Favorite Marvel DC hero. Marvel, it's so cliche, and I always hate when I have to answer this way, but it is Spider-Man. I specifically just like the Spider family in general. I just love Peter Parker. It's, again, I feel like most guys my age feel that way. There's something so relatable about him. Something so, gonna add some brilliant blue here. That's what I need. We're just experimenting with colors, That's a part of the job. Just because I don't want to have to go back over later and redo it. That's more what I'm looking for right there. So Peter Parker. Yeah, and then now you got Miles Morales in there too. I mean, there's what's not to love? You have this like kinship of, this idea that anybody can wear the mask. It's fantastic. Brian Michael Bendis created Miles Morales, or at least wrote Miles Morales for a long time. And he's, one of my favorite writers, so just fantastic stuff. Ghostlight, Spider-Man, Squirrel Girl. Yeah, Squirrel Girl's fantastic. I'm going to get a Squirrel Girl one of these in just a few weeks, coming sometime in March. So I will definitely paint Squirrel Girl on this show at some point. But so yeah. Although I'm sure you can see behind me a bit there, and I think I pointed this out last time, but I do have a huge Iron Man collection of action figures right here, that I've had since I was a kid. Iron Man was always one of my favorites growing up. I think it was just the cool suits made for really cool action figures, to be honest. I don't really think I knew much about the character himself, or the alcoholism, or the, womanizer that he was. None of that really meant anything to me as a kid, of course. And, this was obviously as well before we had Robert Downey Jr., so yeah, I really didn't know too much about the character. It was more just about the cool action figures. But DC, now that one's harder because it goes back and forth a lot. Growing up, I was always a big Superman fan. I loved Smallville on the CW. I just realized I'm using this brush that I used to mix. That's why it's so thick. Whoopsies. Still getting this talking and painting thing down at the same time. So, yeah, Smallville on the CW, something about that show I just loved. And, get that together. Robin, I think, is my favorite DC character now. I love the Teen Titans in general. Young Justice, if anybody hasn't seen Young Justice or has seen Young Justice on, it's it's on HBO Max now, but fantastic show. So good. One of my favorite animated shows of all time. One of my favorite shows of all time. So yeah, highly recommend Young Justice. And it's, it's basically Teen Titans, but extended with more characters. I probably did tell you to watch Young Justice because it's so good. The themes are very much. It reminds me a lot of a Last Airbender type thing. It's about maturing and learning your place and what it means to really take ownership of who you are in society and whatnot, which is really big themes. And it's one of those shows just like Avatar, I think, that kind of grows with you as you watch it. So the first season is very much the first, honestly, it's pretty heavy stuff already, but even then it kind of deals with a little more, I would say, not childish but youthful ideas. But by the third season, you've gotten into some really heavy stuff that it's just fantastic. Okay, we got most of the back going there. And I'm just doing this darker blue for shadows, for the darker shadows, and then I'm going to go back through with a lighter blue later and kind of do some blending to get the two together. Like I said last time, this, the base coat, you're going to mess up, you're going to get, stuff on place, paint on places you weren't really intending to, and that's just going to happen. You can't really fight it. But yeah, I love Robin. And I mean, listen, I'm a Gryffindor. I'm a sucker for the leader of the team. I love Leonardo. Leonardo is my favorite Ninja Turtle. There's something, there about just the leadership. I'm kind of a snob about that, I suppose. Um, but very much like Spider-Man, I love that Robin is kind of like a family. The whole Bat family idea. It's something that, multiple people have become Robin, multiple people have become Spider-Man, and it's like this kinship, this like kind of like, family that, they share things. It's great. My friend Casey actually, I had her commission me like a Robin family photo of like them like tying each other's, or well, I don't know if they're like tying each other's bow ties or something like that, or if they were just kind of like all standing together for a picture. But I love it. It's one of my favorite pieces of art. It's really cool. So yeah, if they ever made like a DC chibi thing like this, I would go into debt. I would be out of money. Yeah. It's really cool. And it happens a lot in the comics too, like where the Bat family is just kind of like functioning like a family and like doing less superhero stuff and just kind of like, they're all like going to a party and like having to deal with, Bruce's like secret identity and that kind of stuff. It's just, there's some really good stuff. Some really good stuff there. Okay. Let's see. I need to hit this whole area here. Who are your favorite Marvel and DC characters, chat? You guys have any? Any that you want to call out? I've never really been like a big Marvel versus DC kind of guy. Like, I like both. I love, there's periods of time where I'm like really into DC comics, and then there's periods of time where I switch back and I like catch up on Marvel comics, and it just kind of goes back and forth for me. And then, obviously I dip into other worlds as well and go for like just kind of indie kind of comics, Image stuff. I loved Deadliest Class for a while. Saga is my all-time favorite comic, and it's not even done. They haven't even finished it, and it's already my favorite. Sex Criminals is another great one, if anybody's read that. Oh, yeah, I didn't even think about the X-Men. Good call. Yeah, definitely Beast from the X-Men. I love it. Brainiac 5, nice. There's a episode of Smallville. Did you ever watch Smallville? Episode of Smallville where Brainiac 5 and played by what's his name? James Marsden. Is that his name? James Marsden. Yeah. Where he, played Brainiac, and there's an episode where he's like, Brainiac 5, you have the DVD sets too? Yeah, so do I. I know. And now it's like, I haven't watched them in years, so like, what's the point? But, yeah, who knows? Anyway, Brainiac 5, cool character. I love the idea of like, you upgrade yourself enough to the point where it's like, you finally see the light. I wonder if Ultron ever did that. One of my favorite things about comic books, and specifically those two companies, is just like the blatant like copycatisms. That's not the right word, but just where they share so much of the same. We'll create this character, they steal that character. They'll create that character, we'll steal that character. And so it's just like the back and forth, but it's, everyone's aware of it and nobody cares because you can love both of them. So who cares? It's so good. Okay. I think I'm kind of done with some of this darker stuff. Let's start getting into the lighter stuff here. Let's go here. Cool. Okay. Can you guys see that? Alright, so you can see kind of where the lighter shades are coming on top of the dark now. I'm gonna see if I can kind of wet blend those two together. Kind of give us like just a brightness effect, I suppose. Okay. It's pretty good. Yeah, last time I was talking a little bit about like Pokesonas. But I think it'd be cool to have like I mean, Pokesonas are cool too, but having like a Marvel Sona, that doesn't make sense. Like a Super Sona, which sounds like a Dragon Ball Z thing, but a Super Sona, where you basically create yourself with your superpowers. That's a thing. Actually, on my podcast, Super Sona TM. Thank you. Yeah. Can you get with my legal team and get that going, please? On my podcast that I do, MC Who, we actually kind of created a Super Sona for Emma, who was on tonight's show. And we create a hero for her that fits like who she is. And it became Persona 5. That's good. And her name was Night Dancer. The power of super strength or the ability to heal. Yeah. That's the thing, is like, it's so hard to choose, right? That's the same with the Pokesonas. Like, I can't pick one type of Pokemon. I love so many of them. It's hard to choose. Okay. Oh, I forgot the mask. Duh. The whole mask is blue too, dude. Cool. Okay, let's get that nose bridge. And perfect. Getting there. You know, with painting, there's steps, right? And so there's always like a period where I think like, God, that looks like trash. And you have to kind of like push through that period in order to get to the like, because like there's always that step. There's always that step of like, I'm sure with like any art. I mean, I don't really do too much other art besides this, but that's not true. I do a lot of art, but I mean medium, like physical art. That it's just hard to get over that hurdle of like, hey, it's okay that this is gonna look like poop for a little while because I'm gonna make it better eventually. You have to go through that phase. Alright, Red Munoz 92 asks, what's your go-to painting white noise, TV, music, and ambiance? Yeah, usually I will throw on some sort of like show. Typically lately it's been She-Ra. But there we go. But also Critical Role a lot, or just anything that I can kind of like not have to look at necessarily, but also be able to enjoy. So I take it back. She-Ra actually isn't a good example, because anytime I put She-Ra on and then start painting, I usually forget that I'm painting and just watch She-Ra. So, okay, he's getting there. How far am I on She-Ra? So I just finished season 4. So I'm starting the final season, which I believe is season 5. For anybody who hasn't watched it, I highly recommend it. It's a fantastic animated show that spans 5 seasons, but the first 2 seasons are really short. I mean, all the seasons are pretty short. They're like 13 episodes max. 20-minute episodes. So there's a lot of good content there, and it's really fun to watch, and it tells a really good story. I'm pumped to see where it ends, but no spoilers here. No spoilers, chat. Yeah, it's fantastic show though. All right, so he's kind of like all one color right now, which is not my intent, but I just kind of mixed all my blues together and got a little lazy with it here. Yeah. Happy accidents. He looks like a much darker blue on camera than he actually is. He's more of like a powdery blue right now. But let's see. Yeah, She-Ra's great. I don't really intend for this show to be nothing but talking about She-Ra. It just kind of happens to be what I'm really watching avidly right now. But yeah, again, do recommend it. What got me into miniature painting? All right, Red Munoz, you're gonna get some sort of like a great person badge because you're giving me all the great material to talk about. Thank you. Thank you. What got me started? Well, that's a good question. I honestly, I don't know. It's a lame answer, but I can tell you, like what I got started doing. I got a paint set. I got a Reaper Bones, an MS, a Master Series Paint Reaper paint set, and I just took it home and I did like the tutorial thing and the thing, and I painted a little skeleton and I painted a knight, and I was like, this is very relaxing. This is very fun. I love doing it. But I can't tell you why. I don't know what caused that to happen. I don't remember what got me started. It was like I guess I just was curious. I think I was getting really into D&D at the time. This was maybe like a year after I had come home from Colorado, where I'd first learned to play with Graham, and I was just starting my first campaign as a DM with Emma and with that group, and I think I just kind of like was like, I'm not gonna be one of those guys who paints miniatures, right? Like that's a step too far, and like there's no judgment there. It was just kind of like, I don't have the money or the time to like commit to that kind of a hobby. That seems like such a detailed thing, and you got paints and you got to buy brushes and then I just like, I'm just gonna buy this $30 kit and just see what happens. And then I got hooked, as you do. And that's the story. I never intended to fall in love with it. But do you ever really intend to fall in love? No, you don't. I mean, some people do, I guess. I don't know. Cool. Trying to darken these kind of shadowy parts a bit more. Get some more of that purple in there. Yeah, so that's kind of what got me started, I suppose, was a Reaper Bones paint kit. And they still make them. I mean, this was only like 3 years ago, so yeah. They're really good. And like, you know, Reaper's not the best paints, but they're really affordable. They had that paint kit, and honestly, the paints I'm using are still from that paint kit. And I think I've painted a lot in the last couple years, but I've barely needed any replacement paints yet. So, and you know, when I do buy replacement paints, sometimes I'll get Reaper, sometimes I'll expand out to like Citadel. Citadel's a big one that, you know, pretty high quality stuff that I'll go with, but yeah. Okay, I'm gonna like get some highlights going in here now. I think he's pretty one color at the moment, and I really need to pop him up a little bit. So we're gonna make him pop. Everybody, you ready to make him pop? What D&D class and race do you enjoy the most? What class or race haven't I got to try? Great question. So earlier we talked about DMing and like whether I like wanted to paint or play more. And I gave the answer that I don't really miss playing that much. Like, I enjoy playing every now and then. So when I do play, it's typically one shot kind of stuff where it's just like one night of playing, and then I'll, you know, it's nothing continued or like there's no commitment to it. And I like that because it allows me to like really try out of the box characters and not feel like I'm committing to anything too much. And so because of that, I try every time I play as a player, I try to pick a new class and race that I haven't played before. And I've made a few exceptions here and there. Like, for instance, in Blood of My Blood, I'll be playing a character of a class that I've played before, but not necessarily a race I've played before. So that's exciting. But I think the class I enjoy the most is Rogue. I love Rogue. I love Bard. I love anything, and I'm sure this comes as no surprise to many of you, I love anything that I can like really talk my way out of. Anything that I can get like lots of skills, because combat's fun-ish, but for the most part, I'm much more into the role play, and with that comes, you know, persuasion, deception, all kinds of charming things, and I don't know, I just really enjoy role-playing that kind of stuff more. So I typically gravitate towards rogues, towards bards, even like paladin or sorcerer sometimes, but yeah, that's probably the classes that I enjoy the most. The races that I enjoy the most, I don't think there's a single race necessarily that I, you know, love playing as the most. I think it's kind of, I try to like, I usually pick my class first, and then I just kind of think like of a story that I want to go along with that rogue or with that whatever, and then I will pick a race that I think kind of helps to tell that story. And especially now with like the new Tasha's Guide, like race rules, where it kind of throws away the rules. You know, races are all cool now. There's really no like, you know, like ones that are like less attractive to me than others. So that's kind of nice. I can just kind of let the story be the dictator on where I want to go with race. And then as far as like any that I haven't tried yet that I really want to, I played a Warforged in a one-shot that I really loved, and I'd love to revisit that. He was a actually not too dissimilar from the character that I played on Spellbound, the Churney character, because this character was kind of a he he was like a small, like Warforged. You usually look at them when they're like really large, like mechanical men, just like big like brass and like, you know, clockwork kind of mechanisms, and this guy was more like he was like a Wall-E-esque character, like on like little wheels, and he had like a little head that, you know, was very ET like, where it like extended up, and he was a cleric, a Warforged cleric who was like a battle what do you call it, a battle cleric, I suppose, and his like whole prerogative was to heal people on the battlefield, and it, you know, there was influence with the character from there, but yeah, so I would love to revisit Warforged. I think outside of that, I really want to play a an Asimar, I think is what they're called. Yeah, like the angel descendants of angels, right? I would really like to play one. I've had one kind of in my back pocket, story wise, for a while now, and I'd like to pull them out sometime and give them a go. So waiting for the right opportunity to do that, but it'll happen. I have no doubts. Thank you. Yeah, I you know, as far as the building of character goes, I think a lot of us try to do something obviously that appeals to us, but also that is just like unique, different than the norm, and so that's kind of my intent most of the time. Is just kind of to think of like my very first character that I created. You know, I had a character. My first character that I ever played in D&D was a ranger, a beastmaster. He had a panther as a companion, but I didn't actually create him. I inherited that character from somebody else because I didn't really know how to make my own character at that point, and somebody else was stepping away from the campaign. So, but the first character I ever created fully on my own was a half-orc bard. And it's like, you know, the stats back, you know, up until the Tasha's rules, the stats for a half-orc are not nearly are not very compatible with that of a bard. Bard's very charisma and whatnot based, and half-orc gives you nothing for charisma, and a lot of my combat stuff just didn't really blend well. But I you know, one of my all-time favorite characters. I love him. I actually have a mini I painted of him. I'll show you some other time. I don't know where it is, but yeah, his name was like, and I went with like a out of the book name too. It was like Keth Agstar, just like something that was like I picked it from the book, you know. Ooh, right there, yeah, that's good. Get those highlights. We're highlighting. We're highlighting. Let's see. Chat was asking about, yeah, so Emma and Emma talked earlier about a Scooby-Doo campaign that we play together. This was something that I kind of created a while ago. It looks really messy right now on the camera. It looks much better in person, I promise. You'll see when we get to the end. It'll look cleaner. So Scooby-Doo was it came out of Monster of the Week, which is the Powered by the Apocalypse game, and I think it had to have come out of the fact that We have 44 new friends. Holy moly! Thanks, Ghost Pepper. Yeah, 44. We're almost to 50, y'all. Almost to 50. That's our goal. So if you're watching right now and you're not following, do me a favor, just follow, and I'll love you forever. I'm supposed to have an alert box. I don't know if it's been working. It's been kind of crapping out on me lately, so I'm gonna keep working on figuring that out over the next couple weeks. But I really appreciate you if you have followed. Oh, okay, yeah. So the zombie's still showing up. Might see a ghost zombie appear every now and then in the upper right-hand corner there, but it's not supposed to be a ghost zombie, and it's supposed to be much better than that. You know, technical difficulties. Red Munoz, thanks for following. We appreciate you. What was I talking about? Scooby-Doo. So Scooby-Doo, I had to have come out of the Adventure Zone. Because the Adventure Zone is a podcast. They play, it's the McElroy family, and they play different role playing games on there. And they had finished up their first campaign, which was pure D&D. Excuse me, and they had gone to Monster of the Week, which is something completely different. It was the first time I'd ever heard of it, and I just kind of loved it. And so I went and I found it and read it and bought it and everything, and it's really cool system, because it really focuses more on role play than on combat. There's really not much need for combat, and the idea there is that it's very like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Scooby-Doo, very the kind of supernatural, the kind of shows where it's like you'd have like a like a whole season, and every week you'd be fighting some new monster, some different monster, right? It's a monster of the week. And so from that, I had been watching Mystery Incorporated, I think is what it's called, on Netflix at the time. It was like I'm guessing a Cartoon Network show, maybe. And I was getting really into Scooby-Doo, and I was like, God, man, I'm feeling very nostalgic for Scooby-Doo stuff right now. I love the Scooby-Doo content. And so I don't even remember how it started. If I like reached out to everyone or anyway, point is, we started the Scooby-Doo campaign with the intent of it going maybe just a few weeks, and ended up kind of picking it up for a while, and we ended up playing like for a couple months. But it was so rewarding as a DM in that game. You're called the Keeper, because I built the sandbox, and I think it was the first time it kind of unlocked a lot of I don't know, just a lot of something in me as a storyteller, and really how to like incorporate, like kind of what Emma was saying earlier in tonight's stream, incorporating your players into like helping you tell that story more. I feel like I was a little more rigid in a lot of my campaigns beforehand, and by a lot I mean like the two that I had done prior. I was much more like focused on like where the story was going, as opposed to just like sitting back and like letting the characters explore. And that's, I think, I mean, for me, that was a very big lesson, and a very tricky lesson to learn, but such an important one. And so I love my Scooby-Doo campaign because of that. But specifically, it took place as kind of like a adult, like the Mystery Inc. gang had grown up, and they were adults, and they'd all kind of like moved on with their lives after being, investigators and world famous investigators at that. and how do you move on from that. So there was a lot of like trauma that we were all kind of like exploring with it, character trauma. I mean, the players might have been going through some trauma as well. I don't know, dealing with some stuff. I'm not sure, but but yeah, just kind of like exploring a very very mature sense of that, while also playing up very silly aspects of these characters, of Scooby-Doo, and like the zany, hijinks that they can get into. And so, I don't know, it was very fun. I enjoyed it very much. I'd be happy to talk to anybody about it if you ever wanted to, like, hear more about it, or like try to do your own. I have lots of thoughts on how to do a Scooby-Doo role-playing campaign. And the best part, I haven't even talked about, the best part is that it's not over. Because we finished that first season. We're calling them seasons because it feels very much like a Scooby-Doo show. We finished our first story arc that I ran, and that I felt at the end, I was like, man, I kind of, very much like tonight's food fight, I kind of just, I'm empty now. I've spent all of my ideas on this first campaign. I have no idea how I would continue this campaign, so we're just gonna call it quits. But so we took a little break. We took a couple months of a break. This was just last year, by the way, during quarantine. We took a little break, and we decided after the break that we kind of missed each other and we wanted to do some more. And Emma, I don't know, Emma, if you're still watching, remind me. I don't know if I came to Emma or if Emma came to me, but basically somehow we decided that since I'm out of ideas, maybe the best way forward is for somebody else to kind of take over as DM. So okay, apparently I asked Emma if she'd be willing and interested in kind of stepping into the leadership role as far as the story goes, and kind of creating her own story in this world that we've created. And so that's something that I had never done before, where it's like, there's a sense of ownership over this world, but also, like I said before, with Scooby-Doo, it wasn't that. It was, the ownership felt like the group had owned it. And so I think this is like the only situation I think that it really can work in, where one of the players then kind of steps into that DMing role and continues seamlessly from where we left off. And it was so cool. And I then stepped into a player role, and I picked up the role of Scrappy Doo. So I play Scrappy Doo right now in the campaign, and it's great. I think it's one of the most like unique things that I've done role playing wise, and I love it, because now we're talking about what's next, because we're kind of nearing the end of this story arc that Emma has brilliantly run, and we're starting to think about, maybe, oh no, Scrappy, wait, what's wrong with Scrappy? He's alright. Scrappy's alright. Yeah, no, it was seamless. It was totally seamless. I'm painting America's butt over here, you guys. This is what we do on this channel, okay? We paint America's butt right here. Look at that. Something you gotta get over when you get over, like it's a problem. You paint a lot of butts. Show them my Scrappy voice. Well, I don't know how good it is, really. It's like hey, Uncle Scoob. It's just like if you go listen. First of all, Scrappy had many different voice actors over the course of his cartoon career. But all of them kind of have that same like like all of them say hey Shaggy, Scooby, let's go down and see if we got to do the thing, they're all like very, I don't know, it's like a Jersey kind of like ambiguous thing. Like Scooby talks very, I don't know how Scrappy somehow has like better linguistics than Scooby does. I don't know. It you know what? It fits it fits our game. That's all it needs to do. I would not necessarily take it to an audition. But it fits me fine. Oh, okay, sure. I think my wife's sleeping in the other room right now, but we're just gonna go for it. It's hey, Uncle Scoob, puppy power, and then let me at him. I hope that brought you joy because favorite voice to do, Ghost Pepper. Thanks for chiming in. What's my favorite voice to do? Just like in general, because that's hard. Let me think. Favorite? Oh God. Oh my no. Oh no. It's alright. Nothing got affected. Just got some paint on my handle there. I think maybe that's my favorite voice. I like to do this little voice here. And it's whenever I do a character and I can't think of a better voice to do for him. I kind of do this one, or I do the same kind of Scrappy Doo Jersey one. It's like, hey, you guys, doing this. We're doing a little painting here on in the green room. Those are like the two go-tos that I have. I don't know if they're my favorite though. What is my favorite voice to do? I don't know. That's a really good question that I don't think I have an answer to, and it's because none of my voices are steady. None of them are consistent enough to have a favorite. They're all just kind of pull them out of wherever. Oh. That's okay, Reb Munoz 92. I remember all of them, and I will type them after. I'll type them all up after the stream for you to hang on your wall. Let's see. We're hitting the 2.5 hour mark of the stream here, which is usually where I try to end things. But I think I'm going to try and do a little more on this guy here. So if you guys are willing to hang out a little longer, I'm going to keep going another half hour. So we'll just call this a 3-hour stream. Let's see. Critical Role. Do I have a favorite PC or NPC? Oh, yeah. That's a good question. Red Munoz, I'm serious. I'm going to give you a trophy. Critical Role. I think my favorite PC on Critical Role is probably... Ooh, and that's hard because if you guys don't watch Critical Role, these are professional voice actors, right? And so they're professionals at getting into character, fully immersive. They're pros, which is not by any means where most RPGs and whatnot lie, which is completely fine, by the way. So anyway, that's a little PSA for you. Like, don't let Critical Role like be the end all be all for D&D. But But no, I love them. I think they're fantastic actors and players and everything. Jester is probably one of my go-to favorites, and I think it's just her story arc. And I don't want to spoil anything for anybody who's maybe behind, but she has had just a fantastic amount of growth. I mean, they all have, but again, if I had to choose one, I suppose, I think it might be Jester. Something, big happens for her around that like 100 episode mark in season 2 there. So some big stuff that's really exciting. I also love Caleb. Yeah, I won't spoil it for you, Ghost Pepper. Don't worry. I do love Caleb. I just think Liam O'Brien is a national treasure, and I don't know what else to say. He's the intensity in which he says every line, just is so attractive in an actor, in a player. Just he goes in wholeheartedly into everything he does, and again, they all do, but something about it, I don't know. It's just great. It's great. And then I'm gonna go through the whole cast and just say why I like them. Apparently, I'll stop there. I'll stop with Caleb and Jester, but I do love all of them. NPC, I'd have to say. Oh well, I don't. This might come after episode 80, so I don't want to say it. But I'll say first name Henry, and that's where I'll stop. Hang on a second. My camera's futzing out on me. Let me grab one thing real quick. Let's see. So, anyway, if you know what I'm talking about, Henry, the NPC named Henry. Yeah, of course, Dark Plane DM. Of course you're a Ford guy, you sailor. If the only thing Ford would need to do more is, like, sing a sea shanty and you'd be in love. Which totally should happen, by the way. Yeah, no, I think Ford's story arc probably was, like, one of my favorites for sure. For sure. And not even saying that crazy stuff that happened at some point there where it all changes, but just like the all that seafaring stuff earlier on, so good. Love it. Yeah. Kitty. I love Kiri. She's great. They're great. I don't know. I love Not too. Yes. Pumat Soul. Guys, I love that we're all Critical Role fans here. It's great. Or at least everybody who's speaking up about it. I guess that makes sense. I feel like I've been going over Blue for the longest time, kind of absent-mindedly. So just for the sake of argument and interest in the stream, I'm going to switch it up to some red. Let's bring some red in here. Vox Machina. You know what? And this is I'm just a bad fan in this regard, but I never actually watched Vox Machina because I got into Critical Role after it was too late. Yes, I know you know. Yeah, and it's not that I don't want to. I really want to go back and watch Vox Machina, and one day I will. And we're talking about campaign 1, the first 3-year arc of Critical Role. The problem is I am way too busy to I can barely keep up with the season 2 with their 4-hour episodes, and I know you know. Yeah. I definitely can't there we go. I definitely can't go back and watch 120 more episodes That's like 480 more hours or something like that. That's so much. Vox Machina comics. I would totally read the comics. And whenever they come out with, I think my window into Vox Machina is probably going to be the cartoon, the animated show that comes out on Amazon Prime. I'm going to use that as my launching pad. But who am I kidding? Even then, I'm not going to have time to go back and watch. Let's get a little more dark red in here. You guys can't even see what I'm doing. I'm so sorry. So what do you guys think? When I get the rest of my Marvel United figures like this, should I like do like a live unboxing? We can all see how cool they are together. Is that interesting to anybody? Or just me? Or should I just stick to painting them? Okay. I think we got a good red. I think I like this red. Ghost Pepper said do an unboxing. Reb Munoz, yes please. Dark Plane. Okay, sounds like you guys are into it. Sounds good. I will do so. Alright, we're gonna add some red to this baby. A little hot rod red, in the words of Tony Stark. On to Old Man Rogers here. You know, that's a storyline I'd be interested in seeing on the screen if they were adamant about keeping. I don't know if anybody else saw this rumor that Chris Evans is going to be coming back. I hope it's not the case, but if it is, the only way I'd be okay with it is in flashbacks or Old Man Rogers stuff, where he's like, you know, taking over for Nick Fury or something like that. That'd be cool. You guys watching WandaVision? I won't give spoilers, don't worry. Anybody who hasn't watched it or, you know, just hasn't caught up or anything like that, I'm not going to give spoilers. I just wanted to say, like, whoa. Craziness. It's such a good show. And, again, no spoilers, but I will say, like, the show is way better than I expected it to be. And I expected it to be really good. Like, my expectations were already, like, here, and then they just blew it out of the park. And so, I'm, you know, I think it's great. Yeah, I think, yeah, Rev Munoz. Having Old Man Rogers around to kind of make the boys play nice together. I'm excited. I'm really excited for Falcon and the Winter Soldier. We've only got a couple more weeks before that one comes out, so we got some like red leg warmers there for Cap. You like those? What I'm most looking forward to about Falcon and the Winter Soldier actually is how they're going to bring, and I just read an interview recently about from the showrunner who kind of created it, about how much they are bringing race into the conversation, which I think is fantastic, and you can't really get around that when you're talking about Sam Wilson as Captain America, because that's so much of who he is in the comics when he's playing Cap and whatnot. It's so much of it is about hashtag not my captain, which is a in-universe thing, and you know, it's very big. This is where I was worried about this whole like free-handing this red versus white. It's gonna be a lot of going back and forth fixing, I think. a steady hand. Oh boy. But yeah, I'm very excited. And knowing what they did with this show, with WandaVision, I have no doubt that there's gonna be so many unexpected twists and turns in that show. I'm excited for Zemo. Zemo is another character I'm gonna be painting eventually on here. Yeah, always end up doing the back and forth. Yeah, exactly. that's all this red and white is gonna be on the shield, on his every bit of this like red and white stripes are just gonna be. Ooh, fix that mistake. Okay, let it dry. Okay, ooh, fix that mistake. That's okay. I mean, he's already looking pretty fly, if I do say so myself. Again, hard to tell on screen, but not bad. Cool. What else should be red here? We need this banner. So, okay, so like what Disney Plus show are y'all looking forward to the most? I think for me, specifically after that last trailer, I think for me it's Loki. I'm very excited to see how the I forget what it's called, but the time variance authority or whatever it's called feeds into it. Oh, that was abysmal. This is one of those moments where like you just have to grin and bear it. No, I'm gonna just take all that back. Point is, not really what I was looking for there. Yeah, when I take pictures of minis, I'm really proud of it. It seems like the camera turns them to black. I completely agree. It is grin and bear it. Okay, thank you. I know. I agree. A camera just kind of has a way of finding all of my mistakes and picking them out. Ghost Pepper, exclusively Marvel. Yeah, I mean, not necessarily if you're excited for something else. I know Disney Plus has like a ton of cool stuff coming out. So yeah, just anything. What are you excited for? I mean, there's a ton of Star Wars stuff. There's a ton of just like straight up Disney stuff coming out. Pixar. Yeah, Bad Batch. I know, looks dope. Get me some more Clone Wars animation. I'll take it any day of the week. Red Munoz so invested in WandaVision. I know. How are they going to end that, right? This is a shameless plug, but on my podcast, MC Who, my friend Ben and I have been discussing and analyzing every episode so far, and just like, wait, Bad Batch is live action? Oh, it is? Well, that's dope. I didn't realize that. Never mind, you lied. Okay. I know there's some cool live action stuff coming, for sure. But yeah. Okay. Yeah, definitely gonna need to hit it up with some better red here. I don't know. What do you guys think? Do I dare do the shield right now? Do I dare? Do it! How did I know you were going to say that? Alright. Let's just go for it. Yeah, and then fix it later. Exactly. Okay, so if that's red, that's going to be white. That's going to be red. That's going to be white. Which means the star in the middle is going to be red? That can't be right. Hang on a second. Let me find a reference photo here of Captain America's shield. Captain America's shield. Oh, the middle's blue. So red, white, red, and then blue and a white star. Okay. Makes more sense. Okay, here we go. Oh god, I need way more paint. starting to think I should have started on the inside and worked my way out. It may not be too late for that, but... Yeah, okay. Good first circle-ish. It's bleeding a little bit on that side right there. But that's fine. I'm gonna go ahead and do the interior red as well. Ooh, wish me luck here, wish me luck. Okay, here we go. So tricky because I want to, oh, you can't see. I want to fill the line completely, but not over the line. Okay. Not bad for a first go. Definitely need to do a second coat, of course. And I gotta get the sides. Beep, 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 beep. Beep, beep, beep. This is cool. I'm painting Captain America's shield, you guys. This is pure vibranium. This piece alone cost $300 because it's pure vibranium. Okay. Not bad. Huh? Look at America's butt. Look at it. Enjoy it. Yes. Okay. All right. I've got 10 more minutes. What else do I want to do? Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate that vote of confidence. I need to go back over some of this red. Okay, let's go back over this. Okay, that's not what I want. So, those of you still watching, first of all, I appreciate you. Second of all, while we're talking about things that you would watch on the stream, I've been thinking a lot about trying to figure out how to do some sort of board game talk and that kind of stuff. Probably wouldn't be for a few more months. Until after we finish Blood of My Blood and Pitfalls and Ponies, but I don't know. Would you guys, be interested in anything like, board game reviews, or, I mean, I don't really know how I feel about reviews necessarily, more so like just kind of talking about them and kind of like showing the components, and I guess kind of reviews. Yeah, that's reviews. For different things. I don't know, just something I was thinking about. I don't know if you guys know. I think everybody watching right now knows. But I, work at a board game store. And so I get exposed to a lot of the hot new board games and that kind of thing, and there's a cool amount of crossover between painting minis and the the minis that come in cool like certain board games and that kind of thing. All right, Red Munoz. Oh yes, please. That's all I needed to hear. I'm gonna do it just for you. Thanks, Ghost Pepper. Cool. Cool. And Dark Plane DM Graham, my guest tonight. And I talked about doing some sort of speed painting for some talisman figures, which would be pretty cool. We both have some talisman figurines from that game. So we were talking about maybe doing like a, he paints some there and I paint the same one here or something, and we just kind of figure out how differently they turn out from our individual, perspectives, which I think would be pretty neat. Yeah. Get yourself ready, man. Prepare yourself for battle. Alright, cleaning up some lines here. Make it a little less cringy. Ah, dang it. Just went and had the red on the blue, now I put the blue on the red. Dang it. No. This is sometimes the frustrating truths of painting, is when you have to go back and forth. Luckily, I have my wet palette, which means none of my paints have dried out yet. I can just keep using them. And that is why it is a hugely good investment. And I would highly recommend getting one after, a while. If you're like trying out painting for the first time, don't hassle it. Hassle it? Hassle yourself. I'm gonna stop talking. Alright. Not too shabby. I gotta clean up the left red line. I'm not gonna add any white tonight. That's just not gonna happen. I'll probably try to finish Cap off screen sometime, and then I'll next week show you guys the final results of both Red Skull and Cap together. Kind of a little battle pose even. I'm loving this bright powdery blue I got going here. Some good stuff. Okay. Nice. That big dome of his is just going to be all nice and bright. Cool. I am pretty satisfied with that. I'm going to go over that red one more time, and then I think we might call it a night there, friends. Again, I really appreciate those of you who've kind of stayed up with me, especially those of you on the in Eastern time right now who are staying up much later than me. Eventually I will be, not too long now, on the West Coast, if all goes according to plan. And then it will only be like, 9 o'clock right now. So, that'll be cool. Okay, guys. Let's see. Let's see if we can get like a decent look here. It's gonna be hard to see without the like white to kind of like make it pop more, but it's, it's getting there. We'll compare this to where we end up next time and see how it goes. Red Munoz, yeah, really. Like I said, we'll see. All the details aren't finalized yet by any means, so who knows? It's quarantine, baby. Cool, y'all. Let's see. I'm gonna move over to another screen here. Okay. I got sweaty. It's hot. It's hot in here. Cool. Well, thanks for watching. Appreciate you. We will compare our Red Skull and our Captain America sometime next week. So tune in. There I go again. Tune in next week to see how those two ended up. And real quick, anybody who's left watching, I'm going to let you guys vote what I do next. So I'm just going all through these. It feels like I'm going really fast, but I'm doing one a week. It's not that fast. And ultimately, like I said, I'm going to get like 60 something more of these in March. And that'll cover me for 60 weeks. So over a year. We'll be good. So with that in mind, I'm going to let you guys vote. Tell me your opinion. Should I do Ant-Man? Okay. Ant-Man. Yeah? He's riding on a quarter. That's how tiny he is. I love it. Should I do Iron Man? Look at that cool sculpt. This one terrifies me a bit, so don't pick that one. Wasp. I'm going to save up my strength for Iron Man. Wasp, who's got a cool D6 down here, too. I got Taskmaster, the villain in the new Black Widow movie coming out eventually one day. And we've got... I have two left. Ultron. Ultron, yeah. Gotta be a lot of chrome. And finally, Black Widow. Cool. So, Ant-Man, Iron Man, Wasp, Black Widow, Ultron, Taskmaster. Alright, we got one vote for Black Widow. We got a couple votes for Ant-Man. Sounds like Ant-Man's the winner. So, we'll do Ant-Man next week. How exciting. That's going to be fun. Cool. Thanks for not picking Iron Man. We all win in that way. So, check out the stream next week to see how Red Skull and Captain America turn out. And to check out Ant-Man. It's like a midterm election. It's so true. Also, don't forget this week. So before I see you again on Green Room, you can find me Friday night, just 3 nights away, February 19th, on Blood of My Blood, the new campaign that we're running, the Dark Plane campaign that Dark Plane DM is running. Graham, my guest tonight. And make sure you also check out Sunday morning, February 21st, 10:30 a.m. Central Standard Time, Pitfalls and Ponies, which is family-friendly, gonna be hilarious, gonna be fantastic. You gotta check that out, if for no other reason, just to see Reb Munoz 92's art that she did. It's so good. It's so My Little Ponies. It's fantastic. So check out those two streams. We're going to start those off. If you happen to miss them, if you can't tune in at those times, we're going to put them all on YouTube. So you can check out our YouTube page, GhostlightRPGs. Speaking of which, feel free to go, follow us on Twitter, join our Facebook group. It's all at GhostlightRPGs, just like it says down there. And yeah, that way you don't miss out on anything that we're doing. Thanks so much for watching. I'm gonna go have some more wine and try to unravel the mystery that is WandaVision. Have a good night, everybody. Thanks so much.